Chapter 2401. Both a protective talisman and a death sentence. Shuiji Tianzun casually mentioned some things about the dragon race, though it didn't know much. It only knew that in the Boundary Sea worlds, as long as a world reached the 6th tier, the dragon race would come. In every 6th tier Boundary Sea world, there would be a member of the dragon race residing within, acting as both a witness and an arbiter of the world contest. However, the dragon race would not directly intervene in the world contest unless someone provoked them first. When Wei Tan Daozun saw that it was the dragon race that killed the purple robe Tianzun, his first reaction was that the purple robe Tianzun had provoked the dragon race. The dragon race is incredibly powerful, and the deaths of the purple robe Tianzun and his companions were in vain. No one would seek justice for them. After chatting for a while, Shuiji Tianzun gave Lin Moyu a meaningful look. Lin Moyu nodded slightly and put away the jade token. He first placed the jade token into a containment talisman, then reinforced the containment talisman with multiple layers, and finally placed it into an ancient box. He then put the ancient box into his storage space. After activating the Eye of the Soul to ensure the jade token could no longer make any contact with the outside world, he finally relaxed. Shuiji Tianzun said, "Daozuns are all cunning, be careful when dealing with them." Lin Moyu naturally understood. It seems Wei Tan Daozun has taken a liking to my talent. Of course, Shuiji Tianzun tilted his head, you killed a Tianzun as a supreme. Regardless of what treasures you used, that's a fact. With your combat power, any faction that sees you would have only two choices. Either make you one of their own or eliminate you. Lin Moyu understood this principle. His combat power was indeed extraordinary. Even if he claimed to have used a life-saving trump card, would others believe him? Shuiji Tianzun said, so you should understand, Wei Tan Daozun gave you the jade token for two reasons. First, to confirm whether the death of the purple robe Tianzun had anything to do with us. He must have heard our entire conversation just now. Second, to win you over. If you ever want to join the seven-colored sect, it's not impossible. With him there, no one would dare to offend you, so it can be considered a protective talisman. As for the third reason, Lin Moyu continued, the third reason is to keep an eye on me. I guess he can use the jade token to determine my location. If one day I go to the origin continent but don't visit the seven-colored sect, he will probably come to kill me immediately. So this is both a protective talisman and a death sentence. Shuiji Tianzun laughed heartily, smart, that's exactly it. So think carefully about how to use this talisman. But as long as you don't step into the origin continent, he can't do anything to you. Lin Moyu nodded slightly, I will go there eventually, and he may not be able to find me. The origin continent, he would go there eventually. Having witnessed the power of a Daozun, Lin Moyu was already yearning for the origin continent. As for when to go, he could choose for himself. Perhaps by the time he steps into the origin continent, he will already be a Daozun. By then, there would be nothing to fear. The matter with Wei Tan Daozun was just an interlude. Lin Moyu once again immersed himself in the grand undertaking of hunting. This time passed smoothly without any unexpected incidents. Apart from Shuiji Tianzun occasionally coming to ask Lin Moyu for wine, his hunting proceeded very smoothly. Finally, after 400 days, Lin Moyu accumulated his first batch of materials. 522 first-tier primordial crystals, 48 second-tier primordial crystals, and 7 third-tier primordial crystals. Combined, they were just enough to fuse into a 7th-tier primordial crystal. Lin Moyu returned to the Great World and activated the Rule World. The first step in fusing primordial crystals is to refine them, removing impurities and keeping the essence. This step requires the Dragon Soul Crystal. The 10-colored Dragon Soul Crystal is too astonishing, and Tianlong repeatedly warned him never to reveal its existence. So Lin Moyu chose to return to the Great World and refine it within his Rule World. Afterward, he would erase the time imprints, leaving no traces. Ensuring that even if a Daozun came, they wouldn't find any clues. A large pile of primordial crystals floated in the Rule World, and the 10-colored Dragon Soul Crystal exhaled dragon breath, refining the primordial crystals. The primordial crystals obtained from the Boundary Sea contain many impurities and must be refined before use. Each race has its own refining methods, but the Dragon Soul Crystal of the dragon race is universally acknowledged as the best choice. Some Daozuns even bring high-tier primordial crystals to the dragon race, paying a high price to have them remove the impurities. The dragon race's business in this regard is very prosperous, earning them significant profits. The situation in the origin continent is far more complicated than Lin Moyu imagined. Not to mention the outside world, even within the human race, it's already a tangled mess. In Lin Moyu's view, it is far less united and harmonious than the human race in the Great World. The 10-colored dragon soul crystal worked efficiently, its dragon breath alternating with 10 colors, removing all impurities from the primordial crystals, leaving none behind. The refined primordial crystals shrank by more than half but became incomparably pure and much stronger. Lin Moyu activated his spell on the primordial crystals. Spell: Infinite Fusion. This spell hadn't been used for a long time. Previously, whenever something needed to be fused, Infinite Fusion would handle it personally, without Lin Moyu needing to intervene. This time, Lin Moyu chose to do it himself, to test this long unused spell. Among the many spells, the realm level of this spell had never changed, making it the most unique. The Infinite Fusion spell star was also high above, regardless of whether it was a primordial spell or a white star spell, all had to obey it. As the spell was cast, the Infinite Fusion spell star radiated light, releasing countless hazy mists. The mists enveloped the primordial crystals and began the fusion process according to Lin Moyu's will. First, the first-tier primordial crystals fused, with every 3 crystals forming one. After all the first-tier primordial crystals were fused, the second-tier primordial crystals began to fuse. Watching the number of primordial crystals decrease while their aura grew stronger, Lin Moyu felt satisfied. In just half a day, a large pile of primordial crystals disappeared, leaving only 81 third-tier primordial crystals before Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu continued to cast the spell, proceeding with the fusion. At this moment, the Infinite Fusion spell star shone brightly, and a large cauldron suddenly appeared in the Rule World. Lin Moyu, feeling inspired, threw 3 third-tier primordial crystals into the cauldron and continued casting the spell. The cauldron roared continuously, and the primordial crystals inside were fusing. Before long, a brand new 4th-tier primordial crystal was fused. At this point, Infinite Fusion suddenly flew down, circling around Lin Moyu affectionately, conveying another message: let me. It seemed to want to show its presence, and Lin Moyu smiled slightly, allowing it to proceed. Infinite Fusion took control of the cauldron, fusing the primordial crystals one by one. A day later, Lin Moyu had 27 4th-tier primordial crystals. 4th tier was just the beginning, it was far from over. The Skeleton King originally fused with 4th-tier primordial crystals, but now it no longer met Lin Moyu's requirements. The fusion continued, and the large iron cauldron played a magical role. Soon, the 27 4th-tier primordial crystals were fused into 9 5th-tier primordial crystals. Then the 9 5th-tier primordial crystals became 3 6th-tier primordial crystals. Now only the final fusion remained. Infinite Fusion did not continue, it flew around Lin Moyu, conveying a weak thought. Lin Moyu understood its meaning. You mean, if we continue to fuse, there will be a risk of failure. Chapter 2402, 2402. Chapter 2402, Forced Fusion, 7th-tier primordial essence. The spell star that was swaying from side to side suddenly stopped and began to vibrate up and down, as if nodding. It seemed very happy, pleased that Lin Moyu could understand its meaning. Lin Moyu pondered for a moment. Since Infinite Fusion was warning him, it meant that the consequences of failure could result in the damage of all 3 6th-tier primordial essences, wasting his 400 days of effort. If he didn't attempt the fusion, he could use the 3 6th-tier primordial essences to enhance his spells, but it wouldn't meet his expectations. The Skeleton King was previously enhanced with 4th-tier primordial essence. Using 6th-tier primordial essence would undoubtedly make it stronger, but he wasn't sure if it could break through to the Tianzun realm. Each tier of primordial essence represents a significant leap in power. Especially between the 6th and 7th tiers, the 7th tier belongs to the high-tier category, while the 6th tier is still considered mid-tier. These classifications are not arbitrary. A high-tier god is fundamentally different from a mid-tier god. Lin Moyu finally decided to take a gamble. At worst, if I fail, I can spend another 100 days to fuse more 6th-tier primordial essences. It takes just over 100 days to fuse a 6th-tier primordial essence. If he can't produce a 7th-tier primordial essence, he can always use the 6th-tier ones later. Time is on his side. For now, the best spell to deal with the Tiger Demon world is the Skeleton King. Lin Moyu gave the command to Infinite Fusion, and it responded immediately. The large iron cauldron absorbed the 3 6th-tier primordial essences once more. The cauldron roared continuously, as if something was being cooked inside, making quite a racket. Infinite fusion kept spewing out thick mist, like the fire used for cooking, adding more heat to the cauldron. Time passed, and the cauldron's vibrations grew more intense, with more mist being expelled by infinite fusion. This scene seemed familiar, reminiscent of when it forcibly fused spells in the past, using brute force with little finesse. Suddenly, the cauldron's lid opened. Lin Moyu thought the fusion was complete, but then infinite fusion suddenly jumped inside. With a bang, the cauldron lid closed again, shaking even more violently than before. Infinite fusion took matters into its own hands, continuing the fusion process. Lin Moyu felt a mix of amusement and helplessness. Is this really how fusion is done? The cauldron began to deform, as if powerful forces inside were constantly colliding with its walls. Each collision released a trace of primordial essence. The combined power of hundreds of primordial essences, even just a trace, was enough to make one's heart race. Lin Moyu's eyes narrowed, and he quickly retreated a distance. He also summoned the elemental lich to protect him. At the same time, he prepared the world tree, just in case the cauldron exploded, which could potentially destroy a large part of his rule world. The explosion of primordial essence, especially at the 6th or 7th tier, would be unimaginably powerful. I wonder if my new talent will be useful. Let's hope I don't end up killing myself. Lin Moyu thought to himself, now left to wait and see what fate had in store. Fortunately, the cauldron was sturdy enough. Although it was deformed by the collisions, it quickly returned to its original shape without exploding. After 10 days, the cauldron, which had been shaking non-stop, suddenly became quiet. Lin Moyu's heart tightened. He knew this might be the calm before the storm. Just as the thought crossed his mind, there was a loud bang, and the cauldron lid flew off. Along with the lid, a primordial essence crystal shot out like a meteor, flying into the distance. Then, another streak of light shot out from the cauldron, even faster than the primordial essence crystal, catching up and forcefully knocking it back. The primordial essence crystal didn't fall back into the cauldron but changed direction and flew towards Lin Moyu. Without thinking, Lin Moyu commanded the world tree to weave countless branches into a large net, capturing the primordial essence crystal. The crystal struggled within the net, breaking branches left and right, but the world tree had so many branches that it quickly replaced the broken ones. Eventually, the primordial essence crystal was tightly bound, unable to move. Its struggle didn't cease, it continued to resist. The world tree extended more branches, firmly holding it in place. A 7th tier primordial essence already has instincts. Could primordial essences develop intelligence? Lin Moyu pondered. In the origin continent, everything revolves around primordial essence. Cultivation requires primordial essence, crafting treasures requires primordial essence, setting up formations requires primordial essence, and alchemy requires primordial essence. Primordial essence is needed for everything. This suggests that in the origin continent, the quantity of primordial essence must be astonishing. With such a vast amount, it wouldn't be surprising if some primordial essences developed intelligence. Infinite fusion flew over, circling Lin Moyu as if seeking praise. Lin Moyu gently patted infinite fusion, "Thank you." Buzzing. The spell star kept vibrating, emitting a buzzing sound, seemingly enjoying Lin Moyu's praise. After circling Lin Moyu a few more times, the spell star returned to its throne, once again overlooking the other stars. Lin Moyu reached into the net and accurately grasped the 7th tier primordial essence. The essence vibrated continuously, its immense power surging, resisting fiercely. The resistance was strong. A 7th tier primordial essence corresponds to the Daozun realm. This power far exceeded Lin Moyu's expectations, and he almost couldn't hold on. Lin Moyu sneered, "If you don't behave, I'll smash you." He raised the scourge staff and lightly tapped the 7th tier primordial essence. Whether the scourge staff could destroy the 7th tier primordial essence, Lin Moyu had no doubt. This weapon could terrify even the spirit of the river of time. A 7th tier primordial essence was nothing. Touched by the scourge staff, the 7th tier primordial essence suddenly quieted down. Lin Moyu seemed to have expected this. Smart move. A 7th tier primordial essence, something even the great world never possessed. Typically only Daozuns can access such a level of essence. Countless Tianzins in the Boundary Sea engage in world contests to cultivate their worlds to the 7th tier and harvest the primordial essence. However, among so many, how many can actually achieve this? Describing it as 1 in 10,000 wouldn't be an exaggeration. A 7th tier primordial essence, something that could make Dao Zun's fight and countless Tianzins scramble for, was now easily obtained by Lin Moyu. All thanks to the miraculous infinite fusion spell. Holding the now docile 7th tier primordial essence, Lin Moyu approached the spell star for summoning the Skeleton King and infused the essence into it. The spell star immediately radiated brilliant light, with powerful primordial essence energy emanating from it, forming halos that enveloped Lin Moyu. The previously infused 4th tier primordial essence was replaced by the 7th tier essence. As its master, Lin Moyu could clearly feel the spell star rapidly growing stronger. Lin Moyu returned to Yu Qingru and Yuzhu, recalling all the Skeleton Kings from outside, waiting for the spell's transformation to complete before summoning them again. The purple spell star grew increasingly bright, with golden lines appearing on it, circling around like ribbons. There were exactly 7 golden lines. Lin Moyu thought, do these 7 golden lines signify the 7th tier primordial essence? Chapter 2403, 2403. Chapter 2403. 500 Tianzun level Skeleton Kings. Summon Skeleton King. Primordial level. Fuse the power of skeletons to summon the Skeleton King. Summoning the Skeleton King will not cause the skeletons to disappear. While the Skeleton King exists, it can enhance the combat power of other skeletons. The Skeleton King's spells can be shared with other skeletons. The more Skeleton Kings summoned simultaneously, the stronger their combat power. Maximum number of Skeleton Kings that can exist simultaneously, 500. Form a bone rule world, which will exist eternally and be shared by all Skeleton Kings. Seeing the spell attributes, Lin Moyu's heart surged with waves. After infusing the 7th tier primordial essence, the spell attributes underwent a huge change. It no longer needed to calculate how many skeletons, power to fuse, but directly gave a summoning limit, just like summoning the Skeleton General. The summoning quantity doubled, directly reaching 500. Most importantly, these Skeleton Kings would have a rule world. Skeleton Kings didn't have rule worlds before, and lacking a rule world meant that the Skeleton King's combat power was always deficient, unable to utilize primordial power. Now they have a shared bone rule world, which also means the Skeleton King's combat power is further enhanced. The strongest power of all Tianzins comes from the rule world, and the strength of the rule world depends on primordial essence. Lin Moyu tried to summon a brand new Skeleton King. The new Skeleton King's height was greatly reduced, only about 100 meters tall. However, Lin Moyu knew that the Skeleton King's form could be changed at will, with a minimum of 10 meters and a maximum of 1,000,000 meters. 100 meters was its strongest combat form, achieving a perfect balance of speed, agility, and attack power. The Skeleton King wore a heavy full-body armor, exquisitely crafted with flames continuously burning inside. Its cape transformed into a flame cape, unquenchable by water and undispersed by wind. The Skeleton King's throne transformed into a bone sword, incredibly sharp. Yu Zhu and Yu Qingru felt their skin ache just by looking at it. The bone sword also had flames flowing on it, quite similar to Lin Moyu's world-destroying sword. As the Skeleton King stood there, waves of Tianzun-level pressure emanated, causing the surrounding boundary sea to become much quieter. The winds and waters of the boundary sea seemed to avoid the Skeleton King. Lin Moyu sighed in relief, finally reached Tianzun level. Once the Skeleton King reached Tianzun level, the Tiger Demon world would no longer be a problem. With 500 Tianzun-level Skeleton Kings attacking together, how could the Tiger Demon world defend? Even if the mid-tier Tianzun Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger personally took action, it would have to think twice. Moreover, the more Skeleton Kings there were, the stronger their combat power became. If all 500 were deployed at once, their combat power would at least double, making even a mid-tier Tianzun sweat. Lin Moyu checked the specific attributes of the Skeleton King. Skeleton King level. Low-tier Tianzun spell. Bone God / Bone God / lock onto the target for attack, simultaneously attacking the physical body and soul. The locked target cannot dodge or use treasures for defense. Can attack multiple targets, with no reduction in damage when targeting less than 10. Can form combined attacks with other skeletons, further enhancing power. The information about lacking a rule world disappeared, indicating that the Skeleton King now had a rule world. Let's test it, Lin Moyu thought, commanding the Skeleton King to use Bone God / on the boundary sea 10,000 meters away. There was nothing there. Lin Moyu just wanted to see its power. Spell, Bone God / The Skeleton King swung its sword in response. As it swung, a rule world rose behind it. The rule world was full of bones, constantly tumbling as if something was about to emerge from within. This was the bone world evolved from the bone rules, capable of attacking the soul and impossible to defend against. It was also the perfect complement to the Skeleton King, making up for the Skeleton King's weakness in soul attacks. A sword light flashed 10,000 meters away, causing a water column to erupt. The water column shot up tens of thousands of meters, and a large area of the boundary sea sank. The explosive power spread wildly across tens of thousands of meters of sea area. Very good. Lin Moyu was very satisfied with this result, much stronger than before. Just this one attack showed that the attack power had increased many times over. There was indeed a huge difference between a low-tier Tianzun and a peak supreme. What are you doing? Water-stop Tianzun's voice suddenly rang out. It floated up from the boundary sea with a body full of alcohol, tilting its head to look at Lin Moyu, occasionally glancing at the Skeleton King. It had seen Skeleton Kings before, but the one before it now was different. Water-stop Tianzun realized, infused with primordial essence. Lin Moyu nodded. Water-stop Tianzun grunted, looks pretty good, seems to have reached Tianzun level. Lin Moyu honestly admitted, just reached low-tier Tianzun. Water-stop Tianzun said, although low-tier Tianzun is much weaker than mid-tier Tianzun, if there are enough of them, they can give even a mid-tier Tianzun a headache. I remember you have quite a few of these things, right? Lin Moyu nodded, 500. Water-stop Tianzun knew the Skeleton Kings were numerous, but didn't expect there to be so many. It was stunned for a moment, then laughed bitterly, the Tiger Demon world is done for. Lin Moyu wasn't so optimistic, what if the Tiger Demon world has some trump cards? Water-stop Tianzun snorted, are they as abnormal as you? 500 low-tier Tianzuns, unless a high-tier Tianzun takes action, or there are several mid-tier Tianzuns, how else can the Tiger Demon world defend against that? It was speaking the truth. The Tiger Demon world had been in its jurisdiction for quite some time, and Water-stop Tianzun was very clear about its strength. The Tianzuns inside often came out to the boundary sea to search for treasures and hunt for primordial essence. Coming and going, there were only so many of them. Putting 500 Skeleton Kings there would scare them to death. Water-stop Tianzun said, I was worried about you before, kid, but now it seems my worry was unnecessary. Alright, I won't bother with you anymore. Saying this, it turned to look at Yu Qingru and Yu Zhu, do you two ladies have any wine? Yu Qingru smiled sweetly, how could we not have wine when Brother Water-stop asks? Here you go. As she spoke, she took out a jar of fine wine and personally handed it to Water-stop Tianzun. Water-stop Tianzun laughed, you two ladies are so nice, unlike this stingy brat who's getting more and more miserly. Lin Moyu showed a bitter smile but didn't refute. Over this period, the two had become quite familiar with Water-stop Tianzun. Sometimes when Water-stop Tianzun ran out of wine, it was too embarrassed to always ask Lin Moyu, so it would shamelessly ask them for some. In return, Water-stop Tianzun would give them some primordial crystals, saying it was an exchange. Gradually, they became familiar with each other. Water-stop Tianzun would sometimes tell them about cultivation matters and stories from the boundary sea. These stories were all very novel and interesting. The stories covered a wide range of topics, all about things that happened in the origin continent and the boundary sea. Some were about humans, some about demons, all sorts of stories. Yu Qingru and Yu Zhu would listen to the stories and write them down, then tell Lin Moyu when they had the chance. From these stories, they could actually analyze a lot of information about the origin continent. You chat, I'm going hunting. Lin Moyu still left 50 Skeleton Kings behind and plunged into the boundary sea himself, reaching the 100,000 meter area to start a new round of hunting. Water-stop Tianzun soon got drunk again and began telling one story after another with its drunken breath. Its stories were always novel, never repeating, and Yu Qingru and Yu Zhu listened carefully, very attentive. Chapter 2404, 2404. Chapter 2404. The second most profitable spell with the Skeleton King at the Heavenly Sovereign level, Lin Moyu's hunting efficiency improved significantly. 300 days later, Lin Moyu gathered the materials needed for the second 7th level origin. At this time, there were still 170 days left before the arrival of the Demon Tiger realm. For the Great World, 170 days is equivalent to over 4,000 years. Since the discovery of the Demon Tiger realm, 20,000 years have passed in the Great World. During this period, Lin Moyu returned several times and found that the enthusiasm for cultivation in the Great World was very high, although he did not know how Supreme Hao and the others managed it. However, these details were not important. Since the complete recovery of the Great World, the invisible influence of luck had affected every member of the human race. Geniuses continued to emerge among the human race, and the number of strong individuals increased daily. During his last visit, several new Supremes had appeared among the human race. The former Rune Supreme and Killing Supreme had now become Supremes. What surprised Lin Moyu the most was that Lady Yu had also become a Supreme. The number of strong individuals below the Supreme level had increased dramatically. Currently, there were over 100 Saint Supremes among the human race, and thousands of individuals at the other shore level. Many rising stars had solid foundations, and once they became Supremes, they would surpass Supreme Hao and others. Unfortunately, 20,000 years was too short a time to produce a heavenly sovereign level strong individual. Lin Moyu was well aware that the Great World, having just recovered from severe injuries, was like a cultivator laying a foundation. As the base number of geniuses increased, eventually, more top-tier geniuses would emerge, break through the supreme level, and become heavenly sovereigns. If given another few 100,000 years, Lin Moyu believed that the Great World would surely produce heavenly sovereigns. However, the various worlds in the Sea of Realms were eyeing the Great World covetously and would not give it a chance to recover. They had long been crashing into the Great World, with the Battle Realm being just an appetizer, and the Demon Tiger Realm not even considered the main course. More worlds would crash into it in the future. Lin Moyu would let them know that the Great World was not some delicious morsel, but a dragon's den and a tiger's lair. If they tried to take a bite, they would break their teeth. In the world of rules, Lin Moyu was merging the second 7th level origin. The infinite fusion once again summoned the large iron pot, cooking a large pile of origin crystals over a high flame as if preparing a dish. With the Skeleton King as a precedent, Lin Moyu's vision had shifted, and he no longer looked up to 6th level origins. Even with a certain failure rate, he decided to gamble on the 7th level origin. In his words, if you're going to do it big. The large iron pot kept changing shape, and the same scene as last time played out again. Lin Moyu had a feeling that merging up to the 7th level was the limit, and the 8th level origin could not be merged. This large iron pot came from a piece of iron, which was somewhat magical, and Lin Moyu had not seen a second piece since. Very few things could catch the eye of the infinite fusion, and Lin Moyu did not know what it needed. It seemed that even origin crystals did not interest it. Lin Moyu did not know what it needed, but he was sure that it also needed to grow. If you want to merge higher level origins, you need to find a way to enhance the infinite fusion. But how exactly can it be enhanced, and what does it need? Lin Moyu could not figure it out for the moment. The infinite fusion was the most magical and mysterious of all his spells. Even the rules of the infinite fusion were not entirely clear to Lin Moyu. He could only say that it was suspected to be the legendary chaos rule. As Lin Moyu pondered, the pot lid flew off, and a 7th level origin crystal shot out from it. The same scene as last time played out again. The infinite fusion chased the 7th level origin crystal, slapping it back like a ball. This time, Lin Moyu directly reached out, grabbed the 7th level origin crystal, and then struck it with the scourge staff. With a soft sound, the 7th level origin crystal became quiet and stopped resisting. The infinite fusion circled around Lin Moyu, then stopped beside the scourge staff, looking around as if examining it. Finally, it flew over and lightly touched the scourge staff, making a crisp sound. Lin Moyu's eyes showed surprise. The infinite fusion did not seem to fear the scourge staff. They are things of the same level. Lin Moyu was slightly shocked, realizing this possibility. After touching the scourge staff a few times, the infinite fusion found it uninteresting and went back to being the high and mighty emperor. Lin Moyu, holding the 7th level origin crystal, approached the spell star. He had long decided who would use this 7th level origin crystal. The first one was given to the Skeleton King, elevating it from a peak supreme to a low-level heavenly sovereign. However, the foundation of the Skeleton King was the Skeleton General. The foundation of the Undead Legion was also the Skeleton General. The strength of the Skeleton Generals was related to 2 other forces, so enhancing the Skeleton Generals would yield the highest returns. From another perspective, with the Skeleton King as the base, even if the enhancement of the Skeleton Generals was not satisfactory, it would not have much impact. Lin Moyu sent the 7th level origin crystal into the spell star, which immediately emitted a brilliant light. Powerful forces erupted from the spell star, which expanded rapidly, its volume increasing more than tenfold almost instantly. It was originally just a white star level, not even reaching the neutron star level. Now, with the 7th level origin crystal, its transformation was naturally dramatic. Lin Moyu stepped back a distance, watching the evolution of the spell star. He initially tried to inject some void power into the spell star but decided against it. Not every spell was suitable for injecting void power, and his control over void power was still weak and lacking. Lin Moyu muttered to himself, "Take it step by step." Boom! The spell star exploded in brilliant light. After breaking and then standing, a purple light shot out from the explosion, rapidly expanding and occupying a large space. A purple spell star, exuding nobility, flew out from the explosion. The summoning of the skeleton general successfully advanced to the origin level spell, and the evolution did not stop there. Golden lines appeared on the spell star, 7 in total, like beautiful ribbons rotating around it. Lin Moyu communicated with the spell star, showing a hint of shock on his face. "I can summon the skeleton general again." This was the first piece of information transmitted by the spell star. After advancing to the origin level, regardless of other changes, the summoning quantity was the first to change. Summoning skeleton general, origin level, the spell star will create a bone rule world, which will exist eternally. Usually, the skeleton generals will hibernate in the rule world and can descend to the real world when needed. The power of the rule world is shared by all skeleton generals. The more skeleton generals there are, the stronger the rule world will become. Skeleton generals possess extremely strong combat power and are the main fighting force of the Undead Legion, with a maximum number of 20 billion. Looking at the information, Lin Moyu was speechless. After merging the 7th level origin crystal, the skeleton generals also gained a rule world. The number increased to 20 billion, 7.5 billion more than the previous 12.5 billion. Unfortunately, the additional 7.5 billion did not affect the number of skeleton kings, which remained at 500, with no numerical relationship between them. One should be content and not be too greedy. Lin Moyu chuckled, laughing at his own greed. Summoning the first skeleton general, the spell activated, and the next moment, skeleton generals began to appear continuously. The summoning took place in the rule world, and all the summoned skeleton generals were in the rule world. Chapter 2405, 2405. Chapter 2405, 20 billion, can you kill them all? Skeleton General level. Peak Supreme ability. Bone Sword Chi. Bone Sword Chi contains the power of bone rules and carries the law of immortality. It can inflict both physical and spiritual damage on targets, while also corroding their defenses. 20 billion skeleton generals, 20 billion peak supremes. Lin Moyu felt that he might have been taking the Demon Tiger realm too seriously. With this number, the Thunderlight purple striped tigers were no longer just a headache, but a question of how to escape and in what posture. Although peak supremes were far inferior to heavenly sovereigns, and even tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of peak supremes couldn't defeat a heavenly sovereign. But Lin Moyu didn't have just tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. He had 20 billion. The order of magnitude had increased by over 1,000 times. Even if they lined up and let a heavenly sovereign kill them, it would probably tire out their hand. Lin Moyu could easily stage a scene of ants biting an elephant to death. Lin Moyu was very satisfied with the changes in the skeleton generals. Their strength had now surpassed that of the Death Dragon Knights in one fell swoop. The Undead Legion composed of skeleton generals would become even more powerful. The 50 undead commanders leading them had also reached the heavenly sovereign realm. Influenced by the skeleton generals, the number of skeleton kings hadn't increased, but their combat power had been enhanced again. Lin Moyu felt that the skeleton king's combat power had at least doubled compared to before, making them formidable even among low-level heavenly sovereigns. The summoning was still ongoing, as 7.5 billion skeleton generals couldn't be completed in a short time. Lin Moyu thought to himself, this great battle should be stable now, but just to be safe, I need to prepare a few more things. In the original plan, the two 7th level origins were the main part, and now they had both been completed. Next were a few minor tasks. Lin Moyu planned to merge a few 4th level origins to incorporate several spells, better preparing for the upcoming battle. Lin Moyu proceeded according to the plan. The skeleton generals, now at peak supreme level, moved through this sea area as if it were uninhabited, further improving efficiency. Now the only concern was whether there were enough fish, not whether they could defeat them. Lin Moyu discovered that after evolving into origin-level spells, his sensing range with the skeleton generals had expanded to 300,000 meters. This also meant that his exploration range in the sea had expanded to 600,000 meters. If he stood in an area 300,000 meters deep, the skeleton generals could even enter areas 600,000 meters deep. Areas beyond 500,000 meters were dangerous zones that even heavenly sovereigns dared not enter. If he wanted to go, he could now use the skeleton generals to take a look. Waterstop Heavenly Sovereign noticed the changes in the skeleton generals and came before Lin Moyu with a complex gaze. After merging with Origins, are all your spells becoming this abnormal? Lin Moyu chuckled. He naturally wouldn't tell Waterstop Heavenly Sovereign that he had merged 7th level Origins. Seeing Lin Moyu's silence, Waterstop Heavenly Sovereign sighed again. I mourn for the Demon Tiger realm. When do you plan to start the feast? Feast. Lin Moyu understood immediately and tossed a jar of wine to Waterstop Heavenly Sovereign. Isn't a feast just about drinking? Waterstop Heavenly Sovereign praised. Kid, you're getting more and more sensible. Lin Moyu said, I had people in the great world aging wine before. It's been a long time now, so it should be well aged. I'll give it all to you when the time comes. Waterstop Heavenly Sovereign's eyes lit up. Really? Lin Moyu smiled. How dare I lie to you? Waterstop Heavenly Sovereign laughed heartily. Not bad, not bad. It hasn't been in vain for this old turtle to help you time and time again. Since coming to the Sea of Realms, Waterstop Heavenly Sovereign had indeed helped him a lot, allowing him to understand this world. Mere fine wine was nothing in comparison. Waterstop Heavenly Sovereign drank the wine and said, let me tell you something. After the Demon Tiger realm collides with yours, your battle will inevitably attract the attention of many. They want to use this battle to see the strength of the Demon Tiger realm and then decide whether to collide with it. So, you should understand my meaning. How could Lin Moyu not understand? No one actually believed he could win. After all, the Demon Tiger realm had mid-level heavenly sovereigns behind it, and several low-level heavenly sovereigns within the world. While the great world had nothing. Even though it had recovered now, there wasn't enough time to produce heavenly sovereigns. In their eyes, the Demon Tiger realm was bound to win this world conflict. After the Demon Tiger realm's victory, it would devour the great world and inevitably become stronger. The masters of the other worlds naturally wanted to see the true strength of the Demon Tiger realm before considering whether to collide with it themselves. If the Demon Tiger realm was too strong, they would change their world's directions to stay far away. The great world had no master behind it and couldn't change direction. It could only wait for other worlds to collide with it. Under these circumstances, Lin Moyu had to consider how to defeat the Demon Tiger realm. Should he utterly dominate them, or make it a hard-fought battle, creating an appearance of equal strength? Even if he won in the end, it should be a difficult victory, preferably with both sides badly injured. This way, other worlds would certainly come to take advantage of the situation. Waterstop Heavenly Sovereign provided this information, letting Lin Moyu decide how to proceed. Should he decisively and forcefully defeat the Demon Tiger realm, then tell all worlds not to have designs on him? Or should he create the appearance of mutual destruction, tricking other worlds into coming? Lin Moyu asked, if the Demon Tiger realm and I are both badly injured, how long until the next world arrives? Waterstop Heavenly Sovereign smiled, very soon, within 30 days. At that time, your world will be severely damaged, which many worlds will see. Many worlds will change direction together, heading this way. The closest is the Battle Realm, other worlds are relatively far. There are about 4 at a similar distance to the Demon Tiger realm, which means that in the 100 days after your collision with the Demon Tiger realm, 3 more worlds will collide in succession. So you need to think carefully about what you want to do. Is there even a need to think about it? Lin Moyu smiled slightly. I want to weave a net and catch them all, but I'm afraid I can't fool them. These heavenly sovereigns are all shrewd, each one very clever. Indeed, the observational powers of heavenly sovereigns were incredibly strong. It would be very difficult to deceive them. Waterstop Heavenly Sovereign took a big gulp of wine and chuckled, his expression somewhat lewd. Lin Moyu understood immediately. If you have a way, just say it. Isn't it just for wine? I already promised to supply it freely. Waterstop Heavenly Sovereign grinned mischievously for a while. I have a treasure here, specifically used in world conflicts. With it, you can fool those guys. Waterstop Heavenly Sovereign took out what he called a treasure. This treasure looked like a cloud of mist. The cloud's shape was ever-changing and unpredictable, making it impossible to see through. Water-stop Heavenly Sovereign said, this world mist can cover an area, preventing outsiders from seeing clearly what's inside the mist. The thickness of the mist can be freely controlled, and it can even simulate corresponding auras. For example, if you want the mist to produce the aura of a heavenly sovereign realm, it can do that, and even create illusions. Moreover, once you enter the range of the world mist, you can no longer change the direction of your world's advance. How to use it specifically, you can figure out yourself. Lin Moyu's eyes showed delight. With this thing, he could indeed fool others. Water-stop Heavenly Sovereign handed the world mist to Lin Moyu and cautioned, this thing is very rare. I had to call in a big favor to borrow it. Don't break it, you'll have to return it to me later. Chapter 2406. 2406. Chapter 2406. World Treasures. Putting on an act. After Water-stop Tianzun's explanation, Lin Moyu finally understood that there were corresponding treasures in the world contest. These treasures were very special and were called world treasures. There were only two ways to obtain them. One of them came from the same place as the origin realm. All Boundary Sea worlds originally evolved from the origin realm. When obtaining the origin realm from that mysterious place, one could also obtain a type of treasure that could be used in the world contest. The other type was crafted by powerful Dao Zuns, using materials from worlds that failed in the world contest. There were many kinds of treasures, each with different effects. The world mist was one of them, capable of creating illusions. Water-stop Tianzun wasn't clear on exactly how many types of treasures there were, so it just mentioned what it knew. For example, there was a treasure that could directly weaken the origin of the enemy world, equivalent to weakening the enemy world's combat power. There was another treasure that could slow down the time flow of the enemy world. Originally, the time flow ratio between the Boundary Sea and Boundary Sea worlds was 10,000 to 1. It could change it to 1,000 to 1, giving one's own world enough time to develop, while greatly weakening the development of the opponent's world. There was also one that could cause two worlds to collide directly. Regardless of whether there were strong beings inside, it would cause a collision at the origin level. If the battle world and the great world had collided at the origin level, the battle world would likely have been no match for the great world. It would have been directly devoured at the origin level, and no matter how many strong beings were in the battle world, it would have been useless. Even Tianzins outside the world couldn't interfere with this kind of collision. There were many treasures with various functions, and Water-stop Tianzun only knew about some of them. The more Lin Moyu listened, the more amazed he became. He never imagined such things existed in the world contest. He had thought the world contest was just a simple comparison of strength. Water-stop Tianzun said, now you know, right? Those guys with extremely deep backgrounds might possess such treasures, so the world contest isn't as simple as you think. This world mist, I borrowed it from someone, so don't damage it, or you won't be able to compensate for it. Lin Moyu smiled and said, don't worry, it won't be damaged. In his mind, he had already come up with a complete battle plan. This time, those worlds wanting to come and take advantage wouldn't be able to escape. Water-stop Tianzun reminded him again, remember, you still owe this old turtle a lot of wine, so don't lose. Lin Moyu was now brimming with confidence, I won't lose. Time passed day by day, and Lin Moyu continued to collect origin crystals. When there were 50 days left until the Tiger Demon world arrived, Lin Moyu saw that world from afar. That world was only 1/3 the size of the Great World, much larger than the former battle world. The larger the world, the stronger its origin, the larger its internal space, and the more powerful beings it contained. Like the Great World, half of the Tiger Demon world was submerged in the Boundary Sea, indicating that it had Tianzins. Lin Moyu vaguely seemed to hear tiger roars. The Tiger Demon world emitted a powerful aura, unlike the balanced and peaceful Great World, but full of aggression. This feeling came from the world's origin, indicating that this world was full of predatory nature, like a beast, very savage. Next, Lin Moyu saw a person above the Tiger Demon world. He wore a huge beast robe and looked at Lin Moyu with unfriendly eyes, full of contempt. He looked like a tiger, with purple fur all over his body, and faint lightning coiling around him. On his forehead, there was a large king's mark, thunderlight purple striped tiger. This was Lin Moyu's first time seeing a member of the demon race, so he couldn't help but look twice. At the same time Lin Moyu saw him, the thunderlight purple striped tiger also saw Lin Moyu. Seeing that Lin Moyu was only a mid-tier supreme, his eyes were full of disdain. This world was indeed as he had seen initially, severely damaged. Even if there were still some hidden forces, they couldn't be very strong. He also knew about the collision between the Great World and the Battle World some time ago. However, he didn't know the specific process, only that the Battle World had lost. He guessed that the Great World must have had some hidden strength left, after all, it was once such a powerful world. The Battle World wanting to swallow an elephant like an ant wasn't so easy. In his eyes, the Battle World was nothing. A boundary sea world without even a Tianzun, what was it if not trash? He had grown up from trash, deeply understanding the difference. If the Great World hadn't been damaged, he wouldn't have dared to come and touch it at all. The Great World from 20,000 years ago was extremely powerful, the overlord of this sea area, completely able to crush them. He would have run away as fast as he could if he had seen it from afar. But even though it was damaged, in his view, it wasn't something a piece of trash like the Battle World could touch. This world is mine now. The Thunderlight Purple Striped Tiger said coldly, already viewing the Great World as his possession. Now the Great World had no Tianzuns, no master, and couldn't change direction. It seemed the other side's fate was already sealed. As for Lin Moyu, he was completely ignored. A mid-tier supreme was nothing. Suddenly, a mist rose from the Great World, covering the nearby sea area. Within the mist, there seemed to be Tianzun auras, as if many Tianzuns existed inside. The Thunderlight Purple Striped Tiger sneered, indeed deep heritage, even having a world treasure, but thinking to fool me with just this, dream on. Looking at the sea area covered by mist, the Thunderlight Purple Striped Tiger revealed a ferocious smile. He wouldn't be fooled by the mist at all. Besides the Tiger Demon world, there were 3 other worlds rapidly approaching from a bit further away. They were coming from different directions, a bit further than the Tiger Demon world. These 3 worlds were not much different from the Tiger Demon world, all aiming for the Great World. Moreover, behind each world was a master, all mid-tier Tianzuns, all human, and they knew each other. They saw the mist and sensed the Tianzun auras coming from within, all looking puzzled. But seeing the Tiger Demon world still charging forward aggressively, they seemed to realize something. The 3 all felt that the Great World was putting on an act. Good, let's take this opportunity to settle things among ourselves, see whose world is stronger. Indeed, that world was once so powerful, we avoided it at all costs. Let's end it with this. Did that world's master really die? He should be dead. You're afraid he didn't die but ascended to Dao Zun and came back to settle scores with us, right? No need to worry about that. If that were the case, with a Dao Zun's perspective, he would have long since lost interest in this Boundary Sea world, probably never returning to the Boundary Sea. He should be dead, otherwise, how could it have been damaged to such an extent back then? The 3 Tianzuns discussed. They had been here for many years and had all seen the master of the Great World before. That master was extremely powerful, and at that time, they could only stay far away. Unexpectedly, times had changed, and everything had turned in an unimaginable direction. The relationship between the 3 Tianzuns seemed quite harmonious. Although it was a world contest, there was no intention of fighting to the death. Gradually, the Thunderlight Purple Striped Tiger led his Boundary Sea world into the thick mist, disappearing from sight. The 3 didn't stop either, continuing to control their worlds forward. They had already determined that the Great World was just putting on an act. Chapter 2407, 2407. Chapter 2407, 3 spells, preparing for a rainy day outside the Great World. In Lin Moyu's rule world, Lin Moyu once again began to fuse spells. At this time, there were still 10 days until the collision of the 2 worlds, and Lin Moyu had just fused 3 5th-tier primordial essences. 5th-tier primordial essences are already considered rare treasures in the eyes of most Tianzuns. However, in Lin Moyu's eyes, they are too ordinary. Having tasted the power of 7th-tier primordial essences, if it weren't for the lack of time, he wouldn't even consider 5th-tier primordial essences. Lin Moyu had already decided which 3 spells to fuse with the 3 5th-tier primordial essences. They were Undying Undead, Damage Transfer, and Bone Hell. In the Boundary Sea, Undying Undead and Damage Transfer had lost their intended effects. Once they fused with primordial essences, they could continue to function, significantly boosting the combat power of the entire Undead Legion. The Skeleton Kings were already strong and numerous enough. If each had to be killed several times to truly die, how terrifying would that be? Damage Transfer was the same. With it, Lin Moyu's safety would be greatly enhanced. To kill him, the entire Undead Legion would have to be wiped out first, which was impossible. Although most of the world contest wouldn't take place outside the world, the opponent had mid-tier Tianzins. If the Thunderlight purple striped tiger shamelessly attacked from outside the world, Lin Moyu still needed to be prepared. With damage transfer, whether inside or outside the world, Lin Moyu was confident in facing him head-on. Next was Bone Hell. Currently, Bone Hell was still at the Saint Supreme realm, just a step away from Half-Step Supreme. After entering the Boundary Sea, Lin Moyu had tried using Bone Hell. Unfortunately, Bone Hell was also restricted by the rules of the Boundary Sea, making it difficult to unleash its full power. If it fused with primordial essences, it could naturally adapt to the Boundary Sea. However, even if the previous two 7th-tier primordial essences were given to Bone Hell, it would at most elevate Bone Hell to high-tier supreme. It could inform high-end combat power, so Lin Moyu placed the elevation of Bone Hell last. Now he only hoped that after fusing with the 5th-tier primordial essences, Bone Hell could smoothly advance to the supreme realm. Then, he could go to the Tiger Demon world and wreak havoc, using the resources of the Tiger Demon world to complete its own elevation. Lin Moyu sent the 3 5th-tier primordial essences into different spell stars. The spell stars quickly expanded, and powerful primordial energy swept through the Rule world. Having experienced several primordial essence fusions, Lin Moyu was already used to it. The spell stars absorbed the primordial energy. The primordial energy came from the Boundary Sea and the Origin Continent, containing the rules of the Origin Continent. Once the spells fused with this primordial energy, they could continue to function in the Boundary Sea. Boom, boom, boom. 3 explosions rang out, and purple light swept through the void. 3 purple spell stars appeared simultaneously. The fusion was complete, and the spell stars had ascended to the primordial level. Compared to the spell stars fused with 7th-tier primordial essences, these 3 purple spell stars were much lighter in color. Moreover, they didn't have golden lines around them, appearing less noble. This was the difference between high-tier and mid-tier primordial essences. Bear with it for now. I'll give you 7th-tier primordial essences in the future, Lin Moyu thought to himself as he communicated with the spell stars. The information about the ascended spells was immediately transmitted. Undying Undead primordial level members of the Undead Legion will not truly die after receiving a fatal attack. They can either revive on the spot or return to the spell star based on the master's will. Each member has 6 chances to revive within 60 seconds. Undying Undead hadn't changed much. The number of revivals was reduced from 7 to 6, but the cooldown time was shortened from 80 seconds to 60 seconds. It's hard to say which is better, but this is the Origin Continent, and different rules will inevitably bring some changes. Lin Moyu wasn't too demanding and was quite satisfied. As long as Undying Undead could function in the Boundary Sea, the cooldown time and number of revivals weren't that important. His attention then shifted to another spell, Damage Transfer Primordial Level. All damage received will be reduced 5-fold and then transferred to summoned creatures. There was no change, neither weakened nor enhanced. It simply ascended from the White Star level to the Primordial level, seemingly a pointless upgrade. However, Lin Moyu knew that this spell could now function in the Boundary Sea, which was enough. With it, his safety would be greatly increased. Not only would his defense be enhanced 5-fold, but the damage could also be transferred to the Undead Legion. With these 2 spells working together, even if he stood still and let a Tianzun attack, it wouldn't be easy to kill him. Next was Bone Hell. At this moment, Bone Hell had also ascended to the primordial level, but it seemed larger than Undying Undead and Damage Transfer. Lin Moyu speculated that this might be related to its previous neutron star level, inherently a higher tier. In the future, when he mastered the power of Void, allowing each spell to combine reality and illusion, they might all be the same. Bone Hell was a unique spell among all his spells, comparable to Infinite Fusion in its uniqueness. Its ascension was entirely different from other spells. The Master's Realm had no impact on it. Other spell stars were high above, but Bone Hell directly descended to the bottom of the Rule world. Below it was Bone Hell, occupying about 1/5 of the Rule world. Bone Hell had previously absorbed a primordial crystal given by Tianlong. That primordial crystal was only 1st tier and couldn't elevate Bone Hell to a primordial level spell, but it did break through its realm to the Saint Supreme realm. This time, it finally broke through to the primordial level. Inside Bone Hell, a river of hellfire flowed continuously, with hellish spirits roaring, and 10 fireballs hung in the sky like scorching suns, constantly spewing flames. Lin Moyu could feel that Bone Hell was now stronger than ever, with the hellish spirits inside having reached the supreme realm. Although they were only low-tier supremes, supremes were still supremes, much stronger than saint supremes. Not only the hellish spirits, but the flames, damage had also reached the supreme realm, and the blooming flowers of the other shore were even more enchanting, emitting an eerie blue light. The numbers had also changed, increasing from 100 billion to 500 billion. The range had expanded from 3 light years to 10 light years. It seemed like a significant increase. 500 billion supreme-level hellish spirits were enough to devour the entire tiger demon world. However, Lin Moyu knew that this range and number were results under the Great World's rules. If Bone Hell were placed in the Boundary Sea, it would be affected by the Boundary Sea's rules, drastically reducing both range and number. He had tested it before. When he released Bone Hell in the Boundary Sea, its range was compressed to less than 10 kilometers, and out of 100 billion hellish spirits, only less than 100,000 could move. Under the Boundary Sea's suppression, the spell could only exert such limited power. Now that the spell had fused with primordial essence, the Boundary Sea's suppression would undoubtedly weaken, but the exact effect would have to be tested. Lin Moyu released Bone Hell in another direction. Bone Hell immediately appeared in the Boundary Sea, merging with it. The Boundary Sea's rules still affected it, but the impact was no longer as strong as before. Bone Hell still occupied a small area, forming its own world, creating a hellish domain. 500 kilometers in range, 5 million hellish spirits. If I can fuse 7th tier primordial essence in the future, the effect should improve further. Although it can't compare to the Great World, it's enough for now. Putting away Bone Hell, Lin Moyu prepared to face the arrival of the Tiger Demon world. As the user of the world mist, the mist had no effect on Lin Moyu. He could clearly sense the position of the Tiger Demon world. In 2 days, the two worlds would collide. Chapter 2408. 2408. Chapter 2408. A world without Tianzins, truly pitiful mist swirled around as the two worlds drew closer. Because the Great World had no master, the choice of collision method naturally fell to the Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger. The Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger's goal was the origin of the Great World, with a very clear objective. Naturally, it chose the safest method, fusion. The moment the two worlds touched, they both shook violently. Cultivators from both worlds, as long as they had reached the other shore realm, could feel this tremor. At the moment of collision, they saw the cruel, somewhat bloodthirsty smile in the eyes of the Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger. Lin Moyu was also smiling, but the Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger couldn't see it. As the collision occurred, Lin Moyu returned to the Great World. Inside the Great World, he could clearly feel the rules of the Tiger Demon world beginning to merge. From the perspective of the Great World's time, it would take a few more days for the fusion to complete. These few days were also preparation time for both sides. The humans of the Great World had long been ready for battle, and the 10,000 star array was once again deployed. This time, it was different from before. The 10,000 star array had increased to 30 formations, still covering the human star region. The 10,000 star arrays were interconnected, capable of unleashing high-tier supreme combat power. The human army was also fully prepared, composed entirely of Saint Supremes and Supremes. After more than 20,000 years of preparation, the human race now had thousands of Saint Supremes and over 50 Supremes. However, the strongest among them was only a high-tier Supreme. The time given to the Great World was simply too short, its power had not fully recovered. All the Supremes gathered together to discuss. Tien Supreme spoke. Lin Supreme has sent a message that he will be primarily responsible for this battle. If any stragglers from the Tiger Demon world get through, we should do our best to hold them off. Tien Supreme was now a mid-tier Supreme. Although no longer the strongest among the humans, he was still responsible for the various affairs of the human race. Lin Moyu's returns had become less frequent, but all the Supremes knew that Lin Moyu was always present. Someone expressed doubt, can Lin Supreme handle this battle alone? The last time he returned, he seemed to be just a mid-tier Supreme. How Supreme chuckled, Lin Supreme's combat power cannot be measured by realm. If he says there's no problem, then there is no problem. Most of the Supremes present had participated in the 100 Races War and had blind faith in Lin Moyu. There were also a few newly risen genius cultivators who had only heard of Lin Moyu's legends but didn't truly understand him. They expressed skepticism, thinking that Lin Moyu, on the surface, was just a mid-tier Supreme. No matter how strong his combat power was, how could it be that extraordinary? At this moment, a projection suddenly lit up in the conference room. The human emperor's projection appeared, Lin Supreme has opened a space gate and sent an undead army to help us defend. In the projection, a space gate appeared, followed by a large group of skeletons rushing out and quickly forming a defensive line at the human border. This undead army was quite large, numbering in the millions, and moved very swiftly. The young Supremes exchanged glances, feeling that Lin Moyu didn't trust them to hold the line. Some of the young Supremes felt a bit insulted. Does Lin Supreme think we can't hold the line? The projection didn't show the combat power of the skeleton generals, and these young Supremes felt insulted. The human emperor's voice was calm. Yes, Lin Supreme is worried we can't hold the line. A young Supreme retorted, if even the 10,000 star array can't hold, how can these skeletons? The human emperor replied, these skeletons are all peak Supremes. These words left the young Supremes speechless, stunned, and even a bit dumbfounded. Tien Supreme chuckled, don't be surprised. Lin Supreme's combat power is beyond our imagination and cannot be measured by realm. With these skeleton generals, our defense should be secure. The appearance of the skeleton generals gave the Supremes who didn't understand Lin Moyu a clear understanding of his power. The elemental lich flew silently through the starry sky, constantly traversing deep space at incredible speed, only slightly slower than the space gate, far exceeding the speed of light. Soon, the elemental lich entered the tiger demon world. As the two worlds merged more closely, the elemental lich could also function in the tiger demon world. Inside the world, there was no suppression from the boundary sea, and no distance limitations. Through the elemental lich, Lin Moyu directly saw the situation inside the tiger demon world. Like the battle world, the tiger demon world had no stars. Instead, it consisted of floating continents in the void. Each continent had mist rising, forming the shapes of demonic tigers, looking ferocious and terrifying. These continents were gathering, forming an army. It was clear that these continents were not only places where the inhabitants of the tiger demon world lived but also war machines. This was somewhat similar to the war stars of the Black Blood world. Thousands of continents completed their military preparations and began advancing towards the core of the Great World. Since the collision of the two worlds, the origin had already been exposed at the core. Tianzins could sense the location of the Great World's core and directly attack it without going astray. The elemental lich watched as the army of the tiger demon world passed by, counting them one by one. There are 5 Tianzins, all likely low-tier Tianzins. There are many Supremes, about 300,000, but unfortunately, not many peak Supremes. There are many Saint Supremes, over 10 million. Controlling these continents, they could form a powerful battle array. The presence of the elemental lich allowed Lin Moyu to have a clear understanding of the tiger demon world's strength. This strength was not much different from his estimation, with no surprises. Knowing their route, Lin Moyu didn't need to set up defenses like he did against the battle world. He just needed to wait for them on their path. After the army of the tiger demon world passed, the elemental lich saw the thunder-light purple striped tiger. He had also entered the boundary sea world, following behind the army. Although the rules stated he couldn't intervene in the world battle, rules were dead, and people were alive. As long as no one from the Great World said anything, he wouldn't face any punishment. This had become an unwritten rule in the world battles. Everyone played by these rules. With the Great World having no master, the Thunderlight Purple Striped Tiger acted without restraint. After gathering all the information, the Elemental Lich quickly returned, disappearing without a trace. The Thunderlight Purple Striped Tiger seemed to sense something as the Elemental Lich left. Lightning flickered on his forehead, and his eyes scanned the starry sky, but he found nothing. A few days later, the fusion of the Great World and the Tiger Demon World was complete, and the rules of both worlds fully merged. Both the inhabitants of the Tiger Demon World and the cultivators of the Great World could now exert their full combat power. The army of the Tiger Demon World advanced mightily, encountering no obstacles along the way. The 5 continents at the forefront revealed 5 enormous shadows. Just as the master said, this world has no strong beings. I can sense the origin of this world. I'm sure it has no Tianzins. A world without Tianzins, how pitiful. Not only does it lack Tianzins, but it also has few Supremes. The master said this world was once very strong, far stronger than us. What a pity. There's nothing to pity. This world is just that cruel. Tianzins have a strong sense of the origin. By sensing the origin of the Great World, they could judge its approximate strength. This discovery filled them with confidence. Following behind, the Thunderlight Purple Striped Tiger saw everything more clearly, sneering, indeed, just putting on an act. This world has no Tianzins. As soon as he finished speaking, a bright white light suddenly appeared in front of the army, and countless sword chi slashed through the starry sky, sweeping towards them. Chapter 2409, 2409. Chapter 2409, Aren't you going to make a move yet? The starry sky seemed to be filled with countless pure white stars, and the dense white sword chi illuminated the dark sky. Within the white sword chi, countless bones were churning, emitting a buzzing sound that reached the soul. How dare you launch a sneak attack? Useless. Several Tianzins sneered, not taking these sword chi seriously at all. Suddenly attacked, the army of the tiger demon world reacted extremely quickly. Dense fog rose from each continent, transforming into giant demon tigers that collided with the sword chi. The starry sky shook violently, space shattered in large swaths, and the giant demon tigers and white bone sword chi were evenly matched, exploding simultaneously in the starry sky. Not bad, Lin Moyu said softly. These continents of the tiger demon world were themselves large formations, easily blocking the white bone sword chi. If they combined, they could form an even more powerful battle formation, perhaps reaching the Tianzun level. The army stopped, with 1,000 continents arranged in a triangular formation, the 5 continents with Tianzins at the forefront. The 5 Tianzins appeared simultaneously, resembling the thunder light purple striped tiger, also in demon form. One of the Tianzins looked at Lin Moyu, a mid-tier supreme. Just you alone. Lin Moyu was not alone. Around him were many skeleton kings. However, the Tianzins of the tiger demon world regarded these skeleton kings as mere puppets. A once powerful world having some hidden strength was normal. Otherwise, the battle world wouldn't have failed in its attempt to swallow an elephant. Lin Moyu smiled, to deal with you, I alone am enough. The Tianzun sneered, you talk big and have guts. Do you think these puppets can stop us? Lin Moyu laughed, you want the origin of the great world. Actually, I want your origin too. The great world needs to ascend, and I need to improve my cultivation. Your origin is very important to me. So this time, I must thank you for bringing your origin here. The Tianzins of the tiger demon world were angered by Lin Moyu's words, sneering continuously and emitting energy. Lin Moyu's words showed no regard for them. Boy, you're courting death. But your world is destined to perish. I'll kill you first. Behind them, huge rule worlds appeared intermittently. The Tianzin's auras swept through the starry sky, their immense pressure rushing towards Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu remained calm, unfazed by the Tianzun level pressure. Tianzun level pressure couldn't scare him, he had killed Tianzins before. Lin Moyu snapped his fingers, and a burst of undying flames exploded in the starry sky, transforming into a sea of fire. In the sea of fire, thrones of bones appeared, and skeleton kings rose in response. In an instant, countless Tianzun level auras swept through the starry sky. Not only did they block the pressure from the Tianzins of the tiger demon world, but they also reflected it back, even surrounding them. The 5 Tianzins of the tiger demon world were dumbfounded, their tiger bodies trembling and beginning to shiver. In front of them were 100 skeleton kings. Each one had the realm of a low-tier Tianzun, not much weaker than them. They were only 5, while Lin Moyu had 100, a 20-fold difference. How could they fight? The thunder light purple striped tiger at the rear of the army was also stunned, letting out a low roar, impossible. He had considered that the great world might have some hidden strength, otherwise, it couldn't have devoured the battle world. But he never imagined the hidden strength would be this formidable. 100 low-tier Tianzun level puppets were very difficult to deal with, and the situation was dire. The thunder light purple striped tiger's eyes flickered, and he waved his hand, throwing out a triangular flag. The flag quickly expanded, eventually becoming a flag with a diameter of over 100,000 miles, comparable to a star. The triangular flag was adorned with countless demon tiger totems, flying towards the army, with demon tigers emerging from it. These demon tigers were all low-tier Tianzins, numbering 50. Adding the original 5 Tianzins and the battle formation formed by the continents, they were not without a fighting chance. The master has made a move. No problem now. As long as the master makes a move, we will surely win. Seeing the triangular flag, the Tianzins cheered excitedly. Lin Moyu sneered, you won't make a move yourself. Do you think these little tricks will work? With a thought, the skeleton kings responded, charging straight ahead. Without any warning, the battle erupted instantly. 1,000 continents boiled simultaneously, with mist intertwining to form a whole, their power surging. A giant formation appeared in the mist, with phantom demon tigers charging out, each with the combat power of a low-tier Tianzun. The number of Tianzins on the Tiger Demon World side increased to 70. Although still weaker than Lin Moyu's side, it wasn't an impossible fight. After all, they had a mid-tier Tianzun behind them. It seemed like a top-tier battle, with 70 against 100. The Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger felt it was still not very secure and threw out a giant stone. The stone transformed into a large fortress in the starry sky, joining the battle. The fortress's combat power was strong, not weaker than a Tianzun, and it was very sturdy. Once it joined the battle, it held off more than 10 skeleton kings. Lin Moyu looked at the fortress, frowning slightly, a technological treasure. He knew that the Origin continent had technological treasures. The purple-robed Tianzun had previously used technological battle puppets. He didn't expect the Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger to have technological treasures as well. It seemed that technological treasures were quite common in the Origin continent. With the Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger making 2 moves, the battle power of both sides seemed to be balanced. Lin Moyu chuckled, "Let's add more fuel to the fire and see if you can resist making a move." He snapped his fingers again, and countless skeleton generals appeared in the starry sky. Hundreds of millions of skeleton generals surrounded the army of the Tiger Demon World, raising their bone swords and slashing out white bone sword chi. The sword chi fell on the formation, causing it to tremble continuously. The attacks of Peak Supremes couldn't easily destroy the formation. But with enough numbers, quantity could lead to a qualitative change. The dense sword chi fell, causing the formation to rumble and shake continuously. Peak Supremes from the Tiger Demon World charged out of the formation but couldn't get close to the skeleton generals, being pushed back by the endless sword chi. A billion skeleton generals, an overwhelming number. The Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger's forehead flickered with lightning. Impossible. How can there be so many? The hidden strength of this world is too terrifying. Not only him, but the Tianzins in the battle also felt their scalps tingle. So many Peak Supreme puppets, even if they were allowed to kill, it would take a long time. If they were unlucky and got surrounded, they might even be killed in return. But at this point, they couldn't retreat and could only hope their master would make a move. Lin Moyu didn't care about the battlefield, his focus was on the Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger. "Aren't you going to make a move yet?" Lin Moyu thought, wanting to kill this guy too. Otherwise, even if they won the world contest, having a mid-tier Tianzun alive would be a hidden danger. Lin Moyu wouldn't hesitate to eliminate his enemies completely. The sword chi of the skeleton generals continued relentlessly, and the formation was on the verge of collapse. Lin Moyu said softly, "You should make a move now." Sure enough, the Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger made a move again. He took out a box, looked at it for a while, his eyes full of reluctance. After hesitating for 2 seconds, he opened the box, and a drop of blood containing lightning flew into it. The box exploded with a roar, and 100 Thunder Light Purple Striped Tigers flew out. Chapter 2410, 2410. Chapter 2410. Returning the favor. Lin Moyu observed the expression of the Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger through the elemental lich. From the moment he took out the box, Lin Moyu knew it must be an extraordinary treasure. Moreover, it was likely a one-time use treasure, otherwise, he wouldn't be so reluctant. When the box exploded and 100 Thunder Light Purple Striped Tigers rushed out, Lin Moyu was also somewhat surprised. A single box could replicate 100 Thunder Light Purple Striped Tigers. Although each Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger was one level lower in realm, they were still low-tier Tianzins. Just one drop of essence blood could exchange for 100 low-tier Tianzins. This box was indeed extraordinary. The 100 Thunder Light Purple Striped Tigers entered the battlefield, forming groups of 10 and creating a unique battle formation, greatly enhancing their power. The battle formation was very strong, and the Skeleton Kings couldn't withstand it, retreating step by step. The power of this battle formation, even if it doesn't reach mid-tier Tianzun, is not far off. If this treasure is used in a battle of the same realm, it would be invincible. It seems the Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger has a strong background to be able to produce such a treasure. Should I kill him or not? Lin Moyu had other thoughts. Water-Stop Tianzun had said that those who could participate in the world contest were either powerful themselves or had strong backgrounds. Someone like the Purple Robe Tianzun was just a small fry, and the Falling Purple sect wasn't much either. Clearly, the Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger was not only powerful but also had a strong background. This made Lin Moyu consider the consequences of killing the Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger. The Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger likely has a Dao Zun backing him. If a Dao Zun personally comes for revenge, it wouldn't be impossible to destroy the Great World by paying a certain price. The king in the Boundary Sea, although he follows rules, rules can be changed, and I am nothing in front of a Dao Zun. Lin Moyu was self-aware he was nothing in front of a Dao Zun. If he truly offended a Dao Zun, he could be abandoned at any time. There's no benefit in killing him. Since that's the case, I should leave myself a way out. Lin Moyu made up his mind and put away his killing intent towards the Thunderlight Purple Striped Tiger. However, the Tiger Demon world still needed to be destroyed. With another snap of his fingers, 20 undead commanders appeared on the battlefield, along with the Undead Legion. Each Undead Legion was composed of 1,000,000 skeleton generals. Under the leadership of the undead commanders, all their powers fused together, greatly enhancing their combat power. A bone rule world rose behind the Undead Legion, evolving into a sea of bones that charged into the battlefield. The Undead Legion's battle formation was slightly stronger than that of the Skeleton Kings. They coordinated with the Skeleton Kings, leveling the battlefield once again. The Thunderlight Purple Striped Tiger's eyes widened. There's more. He found himself increasingly unable to see through Lin Moyu. This mid-tier supreme had endless means, unfathomable depths. No matter what cards he played, Lin Moyu always had a way to counter. Billions of skeleton generals continued to attack the Thousand Continents. The formation formed by the Thousand Continents was already on the verge of collapse. Once the formation broke, the continents would be exposed to the skeleton generals. At that time, billions of sword chi would descend, shattering the continents. The Thunderlight Purple Striped Tiger's eyes showed anxiety. He was also hesitating whether to make a move personally. Lin Moyu, this small supreme, appeared mysterious in his eyes. Lightning flickered on his forehead, forming a large, king, character. Then a bolt of lightning shot out, landing on the triangular flag. The triangular flag expanded hundreds of times, covering the sky and merging with the continents' formation. A massive figure appeared above the continents, identical to the Thunderlight Purple Striped Tiger but countless times larger, bigger than a galaxy. Using the triangular flag in the formation of the Thousand Continents, the Thunderlight Purple Striped Tiger condensed a clone. Within the Thousand Continents, countless powerful beings from the Tiger Demon world simultaneously injected their power into the clone. The Thunderlight Purple Striped Tiger's clone rapidly grew stronger, reaching the mid-tier Tianzun level in an instant. Although the Thunderlight Purple Striped Tiger hadn't made a move, it was as if he had. A giant lightning ball formed in his hand, carrying terrifying momentum as it smashed towards Lin Moyu. Die! A mid-tier Tianzun's attack was immensely powerful, shattering the starry sky and shaking the entire world. The force even reached the Boundary Sea, causing massive waves. In the mist, the masters of the other three worlds were all shocked. He actually made a move himself. It seems the hidden strength of this world is truly astonishing. A dying dragon is still bigger than a snake. It was once so powerful, leaving some hidden strength is normal. The three masters couldn't see through the thick mist but could feel the powerful force emanating from the Great World. Inside the Great World, the moment the lightning ball appeared, it sealed the starry sky, obliterating the rules, rendering all laws temporarily ineffective. Even the battlefield paused for a moment. With the space laws ineffective, Lin Moyu couldn't dodge and could only watch as the lightning ball approached. Lin Moyu's face remained expressionless, showing no signs of panic. The elemental lich silently appeared beside him, merging with Lin Moyu. Spell. Great Dao Protection. A faint light appeared on Lin Moyu, followed by the emergence of a Great Dao. Seeing the Great Dao, the Thunderlight Purple Striped Tiger's face changed dramatically. A Great Dao, how can he have a Great Dao? At this moment, the lightning ball exploded on Lin Moyu, the roar echoing through the soul, causing all beings of the Tiger Demon world to spit blood. The massive lightning ravaged the starry sky, killing countless skeletons on contact. However, the undying undead revived again. The Thunderlight Purple Striped Tiger's gaze was serious, staring intently at Lin Moyu's location. Since the Great Dao appeared, he felt uncertain about killing Lin Moyu. As the lightning gradually faded, the Great Dao reappeared in sight, enveloping Lin Moyu, who was unharmed within. Lin Moyu felt joy in his heart. Great Dao protection, what an excellent effect. The lightning ball, equivalent to a mid-tier Tianzun's attack, was mostly blocked by the Great Dao. The remaining attack was weakened by the spell and finally distributed to the Undead Legion. With hundreds of billions in the Undead Legion, each taking a share, the damage was negligible. Lin Moyu looked at the shocked Thunderlight Purple Striped Tiger, returning the favor. With another snap of his fingers, the divine power lich appeared beside him. At the same time, billions of belief power burned, and 10 drops of ancestral water fell on the divine power lich, causing its aura to surge, almost breaking through the supreme realm to reach Tianzun. In the great world, belief power was effective. The thunderlight purple striped tiger suddenly screamed, "Ancestral water! How can you have ancestral water?" Even water stopped. Tianzun hadn't recognized the ancestral water, but the thunderlight purple striped tiger did, showing his extensive knowledge. Knowledge often indicated background. Many solitary cultivators, despite their high realms, couldn't surpass those with strong backgrounds in terms of knowledge. Lin Moyu smiled slightly, ignoring his words. At this moment, the divine power lich had already summoned the great Tao of power, throwing a punch. Spell. One punch breaks 10,000 laws. The first punch, tenfold amplification. This punch touched the threshold of Tianzun. The entire starry sky shook violently, but the thunderlight purple striped tiger's clone, larger than a galaxy, remained unmoved. Immediately, the divine power lich threw a second punch, 100-fold amplification. The thunderlight purple striped tiger's clone struck with a palm, lightning flickering, clashing with the divine power lich. In the soul-shaking roar, the divine power lich was repelled, while the thunderlight purple striped tiger's hand was also shaken high. This punch was slightly inferior, but the gap was quickly closing. The third punch, 1,000-fold amplification. A brilliant great Tao appeared in the starry sky, and a giant slowly stood up from the great Tao, raising its fist. Chapter 2411. 2411. Chapter 2411. It's really not difficult for me to kill you. The thunderlight purple striped tiger let out a startled cry, the true body of the great Tao. If it was just the appearance of the great Tao, that would be one thing. Though surprising, it would at least be somewhat acceptable. But what's this about the true body of the great Tao? Is that something even a heavenly venerate could come into contact with? Even among Tao venerates, not every one of them could touch such a high-level thing. The thunderlight purple striped tiger, as highly as he thought of himself, knew he was still 10,000 miles away from the true body of the great Tao. He couldn't believe it, but the true body of the great Tao was right before his eyes. He had no choice but to believe it now. The divine power lich's third punch summoned the true body of the great Tao, carrying the power of the great Tao as it smashed down. The thunderlight purple striped tiger gritted his teeth as his avatar condensed 10,000 bolts of lightning to meet the great Tao avatar. Boom! The starry sky was once again shattered, the impact spreading over 100 light years. Both sides on the battlefield, regardless of who they were instantly sent flying. Large numbers of skeleton generals died, only to immediately resurrect on the spot. Though the divine power lich's full-strength punch seemed very powerful, it was actually only close to a mid-level heavenly venerate in strength. The thunderlight purple striped tiger's avatar withstood this punch. Apart from consuming a large amount of power, it was not injured. He was clearly somewhat surprised as well. The true body of the great Tao didn't seem to be as strong as he had imagined. But the memories and knowledge concerning the true body of the great Tao still made him feel afraid. His gaze was extremely complex. First there was the ancestral water, and now the true body of the great Tao. This had completely exceeded his expectations. He no longer believed this was the hidden power left behind in this world. How could any hidden power be this strong? Who exactly are you? Exclamation mark quote. The thunderlight purple striped tiger said coldly. Lin Moyu did not answer, but instead said calmly, I'm wondering whether or not I should kill you. The two transmitted their voices across the battlefield to converse. If Lin Moyu had said such words earlier, it would only have made the thunderlight purple striped tiger laugh. But now, he couldn't laugh at all. He had a feeling that Lin Moyu was telling the truth. At this moment, his gaze suddenly contracted. A heavenly venerate appeared beside Lin Moyu. This heavenly venerate wore battle armor and his appearance couldn't be seen clearly, but he emanated the aura of a mid-level heavenly venerate. Ever since Kei Jun became a revived one, his combat power was even stronger than when he was alive, not at all inferior to the thunderlight purple striped tiger. The thunderlight purple striped tiger's gaze grew even more complex. Is this your trump card? Do you think he alone can kill me? Lin Moyu shook his head. You can try and see. I think he has a chance to kill you. If not, I can think of other ways. Whether you believe it or not, it's really not difficult for me to kill you. Lin Moyu's words made the thunderlight purple striped tiger's breathing pause. His eyes were complex, as if pondering whether Lin Moyu's words were true or false. Lin Moyu said, I know your identity in the demon race is unusual. I don't want to offend the demon race for no reason. That's why I'm willing to talk to you properly. You've lost the world contest, just accept the loss. Don't throw your life away over it. The Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger said in a low voice, who exactly are you? How do you know about my identity? Of course, Lin Moyu didn't actually know. He had just deduced it from the details. But seeing this guy didn't seem too bright, he had already given himself away. Lin Moyu didn't answer him, but instead said calmly, I'll give you time to consider. With a thought, Kei-jun had already attacked, charging towards the Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger's avatar. Since Kei-jun had already been summoned, it was time for this world contest to come to an end. As Kei-jun attacked, another 100 skeleton kings and 10 billion skeleton generals appeared in the starry sky. The entire starry sky was densely packed with Lin Moyu's forces. The 1,000 continents had been completely surrounded, with no possibility of escape. The 5 heavenly venerates from the Tiger Demon world had looks of despair. They were bound to lose this battle. The Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger was shocked again. You still have more. Lin Moyu gave him an increasingly unfathomable feeling. So many skeleton kings equivalent to heavenly venerates, plus 10 billion skeleton generals equivalent to peak supremes, along with a mid-level heavenly venerate, something that could summon the true body of the great Tao, and the ancestral water. How could this battle continue? The Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger knew he had truly kicked an iron plate this time. The depth of this world's hidden power far exceeded his expectations. No wonder the battle realm had lost so quickly before. The two sides weren't even comparable. The battle realm had simply delivered itself to their doorstep, handing over its origin for them to repair. Lin Moyu silently watched the Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger, as if saying, you can try and see if I have any other trump cards. The Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger did indeed have such a thought for a moment, but he immediately dismissed it. He couldn't test this anymore. If he kept testing, he might really lose his life here. Kei-jun was suppressing his avatar. It wouldn't be long before the avatar was defeated. At that point, he would either have to take action personally or flee in disgrace. After thinking for a moment, the Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger said forcefully, fine, I admit defeat in this world contest. But I have one request. Lin Moyu nodded. Go ahead. The Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger said, I want to take the 5 heavenly venerates with me. Lin Moyu answered without hesitation, no problem. Lin Moyu had anticipated this condition long ago. The Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger needed to save face after all. This was a degree A paragraph marked stepping stone for him. 5 low-level heavenly venerates didn't mean much. Whether they lived or died made little difference to Lin Moyu. The Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger suddenly let out a roar. Lin Moyu was also very tacit, ordering his forces to stop. The fierce battle stopped instantly. The 5 heavenly venerates heard the Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger's order, come over here. They came before the Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger, awaiting his instructions. The Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger gave an order, but the 5 seemed somewhat agitated, as if saying something. Lin Moyu was in no hurry, letting them discuss first. After all, the Tiger Demon world was already in his grasp. As long as he had the main prize, he could give up some small benefits. After discussing for a while, the Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger transmitted his voice again, I have one more request. For some reason, Lin Moyu felt his voice seemed somewhat embarrassed. This guy's face is a bit thin. Lin Moyu thought to himself, while transmitting back, go ahead. The Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger said, these 5 subordinates of mine still have clans in the Tiger Demon world. I hope to be able to take them along as well. Lin Moyu agreed without thinking, that's fine. He agreed very readily. In his view, these were just small benefits that didn't amount to much. The Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger hadn't expected Lin Moyu to agree so quickly. He seemed to want to confirm again, are you sure? Lin Moyu said, I'm sure. In fact, you can choose some others you want to take with you. The Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger looked at Lin Moyu deeply, all right, then it's settled. In just a few words, these 2 supreme beings had determined the future direction of 2 worlds. Those taken away by the Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger would live. Those left behind would die. Lin Moyu would not leave any survivors. The lesson of the Great World was still fresh in his mind. Those who left the Tiger Demon world would sever all ties with it, even severing karmic connections. The 5 heavenly venerates returned to their respective continents to pack their clansmen into rule worlds. The Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger pondered for a moment. He chose some more people and clans to take away as well. These people were all peak supremes, and all geniuses with the potential to become heavenly venerates in the future. They still had value, so they were worth keeping alive. At this moment, everything became selfish. World contests were actually like this. The Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger was already considered quite kind. Before leaving, the Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger looked at Lin Moyu again. I lost this world contest. But you, I think you're not bad. My name is Lei Hao. If you ever come to the Northern Continent's demon race, you can come find me. I'll look out for you. After saying this, he left with his people, departing from the Tiger Demon world and severing all connections with it. He had lost this world contest, lost very thoroughly. He hadn't even figured out his opponent's true strength, but as long as he was still alive, it didn't matter. Chapter 2412. 2412. Chapter 2412. Making a great vow, setting a goal. Lei Hao took away about 1 million people, who were the lucky ones. After leaving his own world, the Thunder Light Purple Striped Tiger looked back one last time, until his world was completely enveloped by mist. Only then did he truly have to depart. However, Lei Hao was not discouraged. I may have lost this time, but I won't lose next time. You're quite impressive, perhaps a genius, but once you step onto the origin continent, you'll realize that being a genius means nothing. Then he let out a sigh. I lost the world contest. The old man was right, it's really difficult to rely on oneself alone. It seems I'll have to go back and submit to those old fellows. At this point, he suddenly slapped his forehead. Oh right, I forgot to ask his name. Well, never mind, I don't have the face to go back anyway. If there's a chance in the future, we'll meet again. The other 3 worlds that were approaching hadn't noticed Lei Hao's departure. They were still gradually getting closer. After entering the mist, they discovered they no longer had the power to change direction. Now they could only move forward along their previous trajectory. The 3 worlds would collide with the Great World. Inside the Great World, the arrays on the 1,000 continents of the Tiger Demon world were still operating. The people of the Tiger Demon world inside were filled with despair. Lei Hao's strength was far below his expectations. The difficult battle he had imagined did not come to pass. Although Lei Hao had many techniques, compared to himself, he was clearly more than a notch weaker. He very easily defeated Lei Hao, winning this world contest. The skeleton hell flew out and began to devour the continents. Even if there were supremes on the continents, they could hardly escape the skeleton hell's devouring. World contests were just this cruel. It wasn't that Lin Moyu didn't want to spare them, but even if he did, what then? Send them into the World Sea. They would die sooner or later anyway. Continue like the ancient venerates and allow them to live in the Great World. That would be harmful to both the Great World and the humans living in it. The Great World had nearly been destroyed because of this. Lin Moyu had become cold-hearted. Actually, Lei Hao could have taken away all living beings earlier if he had proposed it. Lin Moyu might have agreed. However, most of the Tiger Demon world's living beings were of no value to Lei Hao, so he abandoned them. If there is a next life, I hope you will be reborn into better circumstances. Lin Moyu showed no mercy, doing what needed to be done, to live up to the Great World and his own status. The skeleton hell devoured the 1,000 continents. In the Great World, the skeleton hell could exert terrifying power, a nightmare for all beings below the heavenly venerate level. The 1,000 continents were quickly devoured in an extremely short time. A small number of peak supremes resisted, but were quickly suppressed by the undead army. After devouring the 1,000 continents and countless living beings, the skeleton hell grew much stronger again. Lin Moyu felt it was almost about to break through from low-level supreme to mid-level supreme. Eat up, soon there will be new food arriving. Lin Moyu muttered softly, turning to open a space gate and head to the core of the Tiger Demon world. The Tiger Demon world was very empty, with nothing inside. It only had 1,000 continents in total, and this battle had been an all-out effort. At the core of the Tiger Demon world, Lin Moyu saw its origin. Perhaps because several heavenly venerates and some peak supremes had left, taking away some origin power, the Tiger Demon world's origin had suffered some damage. However, this small amount of damage did not affect the overall situation. Now the Tiger Demon world was ownerless, and not difficult to refine. Soul power poured into the Tiger Demon world's origin like a sharp sword, refining it. Lin Moyu once again experienced a journey he had gone through before, seeing the entire life of the Tiger Demon world. From the beginning, when Lei Hao came to the World Sea, cast the primordial realm into it, used his own power to activate and evolve it, finally forming the Tiger Demon world. Then, world contest after world contest, the Tiger Demon world's victories one after another, until it finally grew to its current form. Lin Moyu now knew the meaning behind the existence of world contests, to provide high-level origin for heavenly venerates. Through worlds plundering and devouring each other, constantly strengthening their origins, to finally obtain high-level origin. When it came time to harvest the fruit, whether the living beings in the world lived or died was up to the whim of their master. After all, it was his world, and he had the dominant power over the entire world. Lei Hao's willingness to take away some of his subordinates was already considered quite good. Some masters wouldn't care at all about the life or death of beings in the World Sea worlds. They only wanted the origin. Lin Moyu was very clear that the 7th level origin he had fused, compared to the 7th level origin formed by the Great World itself, had fundamental differences in both quality and scale. Even if both were 7th level origins, once the Great World could reach the 7th level, it would definitely be much stronger than what he had fused himself. Suddenly, a thought occurred to Lin Moyu. Actually, when cultivating world origins, it should really be cultivated to the 9th level. Harvesting at the 7th level is actually drinking poison to quench thirst, too short-sighted. If I could cultivate the Great World to the 9th level. Quote. Once this thought appeared, it began to grow wildly, impossible to suppress. Lin Moyu began to analyze its feasibility. Once the Great World reached the 7th level, Dao Venerates could possibly appear inside. If he couldn't become the master of the Great World by then, the Dao Venerates inside might even turn against him. If the Dao Venerates were House Supreme, the human emperor and others, he naturally believed they wouldn't do so. But as generations of geniuses continued to grow, Lin Moyu couldn't gamble on others' inner thoughts. Once he lost that gamble, he couldn't bear the consequences. Lin Moyu was very clear on one point: never put the power of life and death in someone else's hands. The power to control life and death must be held in one's own hands. Cultivating the Great World to the 9th level also carried some risks. But the 9th level origin strongly attracted him, especially a Great World level 9th level origin, which would definitely surpass the 9th level origin he could fuse himself. I must become the world master, truly holding the world in my own hands. Only then can I avoid these risks. At the same time, I must grow together with the Great World, becoming a Dao Venerate or even a stronger existence. Lin Moyu made a great vow in his heart, setting his goal. He put away the Tiger Demon world's origin and returned to the core of the Great World. His appearance immediately drew the attention of the various Supremes in the Great World. Although they couldn't enter the Great World's rune area like Lin Moyu, they could see some blurry images. The Supremes could sense that in the Great World's rune area, another person had appeared. The Heavenly Supreme said, "It's Supreme Lin returning. It seems he has dealt with the Tiger Demon world." Supreme Hao smiled. It should be so. Last time after dealing with the Battle Realm, Supreme Lin also directly brought back the origin. A newly ascended Supreme named Yan Zan said in a low voice, that being the case, it seems the Tiger Demon world wasn't as strong as imagined. The Heavenly Supreme chuckled. I think it's not that the Tiger Demon world was too weak, but that Supreme Lin was too strong. In these years, who knows how powerful Supreme Lin has become. Yan Zan still didn't quite agree with the Heavenly Supreme's view. I can sense that Supreme Lin is still a mid-level Supreme. His meaning was that as a mid-level Supreme, no matter how strong, there were limits. Several Supremes who had fought alongside Lin Moyu before remained silent. They didn't express opinions, but definitely disagreed with Yan Zan's view. The Great World suddenly began to shake. These Supremes could all sense that the Great World's origin was rapidly strengthening. Lin Moyu directly gave the Tiger Demon world's origin to the Great World. Although it was only a 5th level origin, for the Great World, it was still a great tonic. As the Great World refined and absorbed the origin, it also fed back large amounts of origin to Lin Moyu. The connection between Lin Moyu and the Great World became even closer, and waves of insights rushed into his soul like surging tides. Chapter 2413, 2413. Chapter 2413, Understanding the Virtual and Real, Carrying the Laws. As the Great World improved itself, it also fed back origin power. Lin Moyu didn't need to cultivate at all, his realm began to rise rapidly. This feeling of improving together with the Great World made their connection even closer. Not only was his realm rising, but a large amount of insights also poured into his soul. These were various insights into the power of the virtual. Lin Moyu's accumulation over so many years, from first encountering virtual power at the Cloud Mist Sect's inheritance ground, to the countless tiny insights that arose unconsciously later, all erupted at this moment. The great world added fuel to the fire, gathering the tiny insights into rivers, finally surging mightily. All laws should have both virtual and real aspects. The law of immortality is like this, as are the laws of time and space. Life is real, death is virtual. The power of life is like the qi of the yang world, the power of death is like things of the yin world. Only when virtual and real are combined can it be the ultimate form of the law of immortality. Under his comprehension, the law of immortality quietly changed. A gray and white intertwined river of stars naturally appeared in the world of rules. The power of life became increasingly brilliant, with vigorous vitality permeating the entire river of stars, even replacing the position of the power of death. The river of stars representing the power of death began to become illusory, increasingly inconspicuous, until finally very little gray could be seen. However, the insignificant power of death contained power far surpassing the past, able to make one step into death. Then, the river of stars of the law of immortality quietly scattered, turning into countless starlight. It became virtual, yet also truly existed. The law of immortality, intertwining virtual and real, spread freely in the world of rules, merging with the world of rules. From now on, there was no more river of stars of the law of immortality. It had completely merged into the world of rules. The world of rules, infused with virtual and real power, became increasingly powerful. Life and death, virtual and real, yin and yang, all were within Lin Moyu's thoughts, changing at will. Next came the laws of time and space. Time and space were originally laws that intertwined virtual and real. Ordinary people cannot perceive time and space, but they truly exist. Now, Lin Moyu understood the virtual and real power of these two laws, grasping them more deeply. He could control the time in an area, making time in that area accelerate, slow down, or even flow backwards. Combined with the law of space, he could even cut that area into countless pieces, with time different in each piece. Using the power of time and space to kill opponents. Lin Moyu felt that even without using any techniques, just relying on the power of time and space was enough to be invincible among those of the same realm. After all, even that seven-colored sect Dao Venerate needed to rely on magical treasures to reverse time. But he had reversed time countless times already. The rivers of stars of the laws of time and space, like the river of stars of the law of immortality, shattered and turned into virtual and real power, merging into the world of rules. The world of rules rumbled and rapidly expanded. Its volume expanded more than tenfold, and it also became more solid. The world tree also grew larger, continuing to cover most of the world of rules. It seemed that no matter how the world of rules changed, it was still the core. Understanding virtual and real power, and even infusing virtual and real power into the world of rules, is one of the differences between heavenly venerates and supreme venerates. With virtual and real power, the world of rules becomes closer to a real world, gaining the ability to evolve all things. Another difference is that a heavenly venerate's world of rules is stronger and more independent. Just relying on the world of rules, a heavenly venerate can obtain powerful strength, much stronger than a supreme venerate's world of rules. A heavenly venerate's world of rules can evolve all things, even evolve living beings. I didn't expect that before becoming a heavenly venerate, I would already have a world of rules similar to a heavenly venerate's. Lin Moyu steadily stood at the position of high-level supreme venerate, his strength greatly increasing once again. He was very clear that his improvement was comprehensive, whether in soul or body, whether in techniques or methods, without any shortcomings. Things that weren't successful before can be tried again now. Lin Moyu vividly remembered that when he first constructed his world of rules, he tried to merge the laws of immortality, time and space, and then have them carried by technique stars. Unfortunately, it failed at that time. The technique stars themselves were not strong enough to carry three laws simultaneously. Now that he had truly mastered virtual power, the rivers of stars of laws had undergone great changes, completely merging into the world of rules. Now there were various rule powers everywhere in the entire world of rules. Lin Moyu only needed a thought to freely control them, summoning as much as he wanted with extreme precision. Precise control of power was extremely beneficial for techniques to carry laws, increasing the success rate. Moreover, the technique stars had also merged with origin power, transforming themselves into origin-level techniques. Past failures didn't matter. Lin Moyu felt he could try again now, perhaps successfully. He first chose the skeleton general. Like the Skeleton King, it had merged with 7th level origin. If even it couldn't do it, there was no need to try others. Lin Moyu mobilized the Law of Space and injected it into the Technique Star for summoning skeleton generals. The Technique Star radiated purple light, with 7 golden lines surrounding it, making it appear extremely noble. The Law of Space was smoothly injected, with the Technique Star offering no resistance, completely different from last time. The entire process was very smooth. As the master, Lin Moyu could fully sense this process. Originally, summoning skeleton generals already carried the Law of Immortality. Now it gained the Law of Space as well. From now on, skeleton generals would have the ability to teleport, and could even open space gates to teleport infinite distances. Moreover, he sensed that the Technique Star still had redundancy, seeming able to continue. Then let's continue. The Law of Time was also mobilized and injected. This time it encountered some obstacles. Originally, the laws of immortality and space had formed a balance, appearing perfect. The addition of time power broke this balance. Lin Moyu manipulated the Law of Time, making time and space laws merge to form time-space power, reaching balance again. Lin Moyu muttered to himself, the Law of Immortality originally had 2 powers, and time-space power also has 2 powers, so they can also maintain balance. Lin Moyu's control over power was extremely precise, not a bit more or less, allowing the 2 laws to achieve perfect fusion while maintaining absolute balance with the Law of Immortality. At the moment of fusion completion, the Technique Star's purple light flared brilliantly, with golden lines rapidly rotating, transmitting an even more powerful aura from within. The fused power began to enter the Bone Rule world, and through the Bone Rule world, was used by every skeleton general. Lin Moyu's lips curled into a smile. From now on, his skeleton generals would possess the Law of Immortality and time-space power. Skeleton generals could fight across time and space. Of course, the skeleton general's application of time-space power was still far inferior to his own, only some basic applications. However, they could use time-space power for defense, greatly enhancing the skeleton general's defensive capabilities. They could also enter another layer of time-space to launch surprise attacks. After infusing time-space power, the skeleton general's combat methods would become diverse and extremely flexible. Lin Moyu tried it out in the world of rules, understanding the skeleton general's newly added abilities, then set his sights on the skeleton kings again. Following the same method, he injected time-space power into them. Chapter 2414, 2414. Chapter 2414, Forced Fusion Again. With the experience of the skeleton generals, the process of injecting laws into the summoning of the skeleton kings went very smoothly. Soon, the skeleton kings also possessed the power of time and space, allowing them to traverse through time and space, making their combat more flexible and greatly enhancing their defensive capabilities. Moreover, with Lin Moyu's realm elevated to high-level supreme, the combat power of the skeleton kings increased by at least 2 to 3 times compared to before. Although their realm was still at the low-level heavenly venerate, they were no longer the weakest among the low-level heavenly venerates, at least not inferior to the 5 low-level heavenly venerates from the Tiger Demon world. Furthermore, if 500 skeleton kings were to fight together, their combat power would at least double due to mutual amplification. Even if they encountered a mid-level heavenly venerate, Lin Moyu was confident in fighting them. Even if they couldn't win, they could entangle the mid-level heavenly venerate, making it difficult for the opponent to escape. The power of time and space was not only strong but also troublesome. Satisfied with his creation, Lin Moyu thought to himself, it's time to infuse the power of the void into other spells. Once the spells were infused with the power of the void, their effects would be greatly enhanced. Moreover, even without the origin, as long as they had the power of the void in reality, they could still be effective after leaving the Great World, at least not being too suppressed by the World Sea. The heavenly venerates of the Great World in the past were like this. They might not have fused with the power of the origin, but they definitely comprehended the power of the void and infused it into their spells. Therefore, the heavenly venerates also had a certain combat power in the World Sea. Thinking of this, Lin Moyu immediately acted, infusing the power of the void into the spell stars. He used the void power of the Law of Immortality, which was his life law, and each spell star contained the Law of Immortality. So, infusing the void power of the Law of Immortality was the most suitable. In the future, when these spells were upgraded to the origin level, adding the power of time and space would not be too late. In the world of rules, the power of the void and reality surged continuously, with streams of void power being injected into each spell star. The scene of the collective promotion of spell stars reappeared, with each spell star beginning to spin rapidly, collectively advancing. The colors of the spell stars changed from white to gray, the space around the stars began to distort, and the spell stars became heavier and stronger. It was like the scene when the bone hell was promoted, reenacted on a grander scale. At this moment, infinite fusion suddenly moved. The spell star of infinite fusion scattered an endless mist of chaotic energy, then it carried the chaotic energy and flew towards the spell star of Necromancer's gaze. The chaotic energy was like a big slap, slapping Necromancer's gaze into the bone hell with a bang. The spell star of Necromancer's gaze, which was sublimating towards a neutron star and extremely heavy, couldn't withstand this slap at all. The spell star fell into the bone hell like a meteor, plunging into the river of hellfire. The river of fire boiled instantly, surging with huge waves. Then, infinite fusion sprayed more chaotic energy into the bone hell. Lin Moyu watched. It wants to merge Necromancer's gaze with bone hell. Fusion spells were nothing new. The bone hell was previously fused, and the skeleton generals were also fused. Each fusion was initiated by infinite fusion itself, without Lin Moyu needing to lead. This time was no different. It still acted on its own to fuse. Lin Moyu did not stop it, knowing that what infinite fusion did was beneficial and harmless to him. Each fusion resulted in a 1 + 1 greater than 2 effect, and this time would be no exception. Infinite fusion sprayed a large amount of chaotic energy, completely enveloping the bone hell, and Necromancer's gaze, which was slapped in, did not come out. The bone hell continued to boil, with the hellish spirits inside roaring continuously, and the fusion continued. Infinite fusion did not idle. It rushed towards other spell stars. Lin Moyu squinted his eyes this time. The target of infinite fusion was Summon Legion Ruler. It sprayed a large amount of chaotic energy again, enveloping the spell star of Summon Legion Ruler, and the chaotic energy wrapped it, rushing towards Summon Death Dragon Knight. Summon Death Dragon Knight had already been fused once, and this time, it was going to be fused again. Moreover, inside Summon Legion Ruler, besides the Legion Ruler, there was also the Necromancer Commander. Lin Moyu frowned slightly but still did not stop. He chose to trust infinite fusion. After spraying a large amount of chaotic energy, infinite fusion visibly weakened a lot. Its power was not infinite and would be exhausted. After exhaustion, it would take a long time to recover. Summon Legion Ruler was dragged to the side of Summon Death Dragon Knight, but it clearly resisted the fusion again. In fact, it resisted last time as well, but under the power of infinite fusion it had no choice but to be forcibly fused. This time it still resisted, but infinite fusion did not pamper it. Infinite fusion threw out a large cauldron again, swallowing both spell stars. The chaotic energy turned into flames, continuously heating the cauldron, while it sprayed a large amount of chaotic energy into the cauldron. The cauldron crackled like it was stir-frying. After doing all this, the light of infinite fusion dimmed several times, and its aura weakened. Lin Moyu was a bit worried and sent a thought, "Are you okay?" Infinite fusion shook left and right, indicating it was fine. Lin Moyu felt he should find a way to strengthen infinite fusion. All other spells had been enhanced many times, but it had not been significantly strengthened. After some thought, besides the small iron piece given by Shu Jiangxing, it later swallowed a piece of spiritual material, and after that, it no longer cared for ordinary spiritual materials. In the ancient rune secret realm, it found a small spiritual grass. Infinite fusion actively came to eat it, and when the spiritual flower opened, it ate 10 flowers. Apart from that, infinite fusion did not ask for anything else. Even the 7th level origin, it did not care for. Lin Moyu deduced from this that infinite fusion required something very special. He still couldn't figure out what the small iron piece was. Later, he understood that it needed spiritual materials. Moreover, infinite fusion became pickier, no longer caring for ordinary spiritual materials. It needed better and stronger spiritual materials. "I'll ask Senior Shuiji later to see where I can find better spiritual materials." Seeing infinite fusion working so hard, Lin Moyu couldn't treat it poorly. The changes in the bone hell gradually calmed down. After fusing with Necromancer's gaze, a huge eye appeared above the bone hell, in addition to the 10 suns. The eye burned with fierce flames, like the eyes of death, cold and merciless, gazing at the entire bone hell. With its addition, the bone hell seemed to become more real. Lin Moyu felt the changes in the bone hell with the addition of Necromancer's gaze. It became stronger. Necromancer's gaze could burn the enemy's soul, not only directly attacking the soul but also reducing the enemy's abilities. Combined with the other side flower, entering the bone hell would reduce combat power by at least twofold. Lin Moyu hadn't used Necromancer's gaze for a long time, and as his realm improved, its effect became weaker. Unexpectedly, this fusion gave Necromancer's gaze a new lease on life. Chapter 2415, 2415. Chapter 2415. Hoping they can respect their elders. The bone hell, after merging with Necromancer's gaze, greatly enhanced its soul attack ability and strengthened its power to weaken enemies. Now even if a peak supreme enters, trying to escape would be very difficult. It could be called invincible below the heavenly venerate realm. Lin Moyu turned his attention back to the large iron pot, which was still sizzling like it was stir-frying vegetables. The two spell stars were still fusing, but from the sounds, it seemed to be in the final stages. Lin Moyu was starting to understand why it was called infinite fusion. There was no limit to the number of fusions, only whether they were suitable or not. Even spells that had been fused before could be fused again. Lin Moyu realized he had fallen into a misconception before, thinking spells could only be fused once. Infinite fusion was teaching him through example that spells could be fused multiple times. He needed to open up his perspective, let his thoughts fly, and not be confined to one place. Infinite fusion was still spewing out chaotic energy. It only lacked entering the field itself. It was very proud, seeming to think that fusing two spells wasn't worth its personal involvement. Finally, the commotion in the large iron pot grew smaller and smaller until it disappeared. The lid opened, and a gray spell star flew out of the pot. The spell star was extremely heavy, warping the space around it visibly. The spell had already advanced to the neutron star level, on par with the bone hell, though it had not yet merged with origin power. Thank you for your hard work. Lin Moyu didn't immediately check the fused spell, but instead gently patted infinite fusion. Infinite fusion put away the large iron pot and flew around Lin Moyu twice, as if to say, it wasn't hard work. Then it flew back to its position to rest. The world tree extended a branch, gently supporting infinite fusion with its leaves. A gentle stream of soul power was transmitted over, helping infinite fusion recover. Only then did Lin Moyu leisurely go to check the spell. Summon Dragon Rider Legion. Neutron star level summons the Dragon Rider Legion to descend into the mortal world and engage in battle. Dragon Rider Legion limit, 1000. There was no extra explanation, just this brief sentence. Judging from the words alone, it wasn't clear how strong it was. However, Lin Moyu believed it shouldn't be weak. Let's try it out. With a thought, he activated the spell, summoning directly in the world of rules. The spell star flickered slightly, and in an instant, a massive legion descended into the world of rules. This legion numbered 10 million, and its members were all dragon riders. Each dragon rider was over 100 meters tall, with an aura at the peak supreme level, even stronger than the skeleton generals. In Lin Moyu's view, the combat power of these dragon riders was top tier even among peak supremes. And this was just their individual combat power. The true strength of this spell should be in group combat. At the forefront of the 10 million dragon riders were their legion commanders. There wasn't just one commander, but 11. 10 of them were captains, and one was the legion commander. Judging purely by their auras, the captains' realms had directly reached the heavenly venerate level. While the legion commander was at the same realm, all low-level heavenly venerates, his combat power was clearly a bit stronger. As the legion descended, Lin Moyu received detailed information about the legion. Dragon Rider Legion number of members, 10 million member combat power, peak supreme captain combat power, low-level heavenly venerate legion commander combat power, low-level heavenly venerate legion abilities, white bone battle formation, command, death charge, death breath, fatal strike. After reading the legion information, Lin Moyu truly understood. The two spells had indeed fused. The former legion rulers had become captains and the legion commander in the Dragon Rider Legion. They inherited all the abilities of the two previous spells, including the white bone battle formation and command. The abilities of the two spells were unified and integrated, and the numbers also changed. Originally there were 5 billion Death Dragon Knights. Now they were unified into 1,000 legions, each legion numbering 10 million, equivalent to increasing the number of Death Dragon Knights to 100 billion. However, the number of legion rulers sharply decreased. The two sides reached a perfect balance. At the same time as the spell fusion was completed, the composition of the White Bone battle formation changed from skeleton generals to Death Dragon Knights. From now on, the White Bone battle formation had nothing to do with skeleton generals, which was clearly different from the battle formations of ancient times. At the same time, the 50 undead commanders who had previously gained rule worlds through world fruits were also preserved. This resulted in 50 Dragon Rider Legion commanders possessing rule worlds, able to store their legions within. The rest couldn't do this and could only keep their armies outside, unless they could obtain rule worlds through world fruits in the future. The single battle realm was also preserved, but unfortunately there was only one battle realm, so it didn't have much practical use for now. Lin Moyu had also thought about setting aside time in the future to refine battle realms, trying to give each legion a battle realm. Now that the Great World had recovered, various rare resources were gradually appearing, making it possible to refine battle realms. This one spell fusion caused some changes in Lin Moyu's combat structure. The emergence of the Dragon Rider Legion perfectly filled the combat power gap between skeleton generals and skeleton kings. From now on, skeleton generals, Dragon Rider Legion, and skeleton kings formed a low, medium, and high-end combat power combination. With unified spells and unified combat power, it would be easier to control and manipulate. Looking at the other spells, after advancing to the neutron star level, they all had varying degrees of enhancement. However, compared to spells that had merged with origin power, there was still no comparison. Lin Moyu awoke from his advancement and glanced at the Great World's runes. His connection with the Great World's runes had become even closer. He was not far from becoming the new master of the Great World. After absorbing the Tiger Demon World's origin, the Great World had strengthened again, though it was still far from reaching the 7th level. The Tiger Demon World's origin was only 5th level. To advance using 5th level origin would require a certain quantity. However, the strengthened origin could accelerate the evolution of resources and speed up the cultivation of living beings in the Great World, producing more geniuses. It was a good thing overall. Lin Moyu left the Great World's origin and reappeared at the center point of the Great World. The various supremes of the human race had long been waiting here. As soon as they saw Lin Moyu, they all called out, "Supreme Lin." Lin Moyu was wrapped in thick origin energy, constantly emanating the pressure of a high-level supreme. Even the strongest high-level supreme among them had to bow their heads. Lin Moyu hadn't returned for a long time. His gaze swept over everyone, and besides the familiar supremes, there were many new faces. These were the rising stars of the Great World, who had surpassed Supreme Hao and others in realm. Lin Moyu smiled and greeted Supreme Hao and the others, then looked at these unfamiliar faces. You are very fortunate to be born in a good era. Although your cultivation has improved, I hope you can respect your elders and keep the human race united. His tone was somewhat like an elder, even giving a sense of being high and mighty. His words also made several newly ascended Supremes frown slightly, not feeling very comfortable hearing them. The reason he said this was because Lin Moyu sensed a kind of dissatisfaction from them. It was dissatisfaction with himself, as if they didn't think he was all that impressive. They were all geniuses who had surpassed their former revered elders in an extremely short cultivation time, so it was inevitable that they would become somewhat arrogant. If this continued, their respect for Supreme Hao and others would decrease more and more. Not to mention the human emperor and Elder Shing. The gap in strength would give them more say, eventually leading to problems within the human race. Lin Moyu felt he should remind them not to do this, otherwise the consequences would be very serious. This first reminder, Lin Moyu gave with good intentions. As for whether they would listen or not, that remained to be seen. Since ancient times, human hearts have been difficult to fathom. Even heavenly venerates cannot control people's hearts. Chapter 2416, 2416. Chapter 2416. Eliminating bad elements early. These people verbally agreed, but how much they would actually take to heart, no one knew. Lin Moyu wouldn't try to guess their thoughts. After chatting with Supreme Hao and the others for a few sentences, he turned and left. Lin Moyu told them that the matter with the Tiger Demon World had been settled. As for the 3 worlds coming immediately after, Lin Moyu didn't mention them. After the battle with the Tiger Demon World, Lin Moyu felt that telling them wouldn't be of much use. If even he couldn't stop them, the current strength of the human race alone wouldn't have any effect. So he would face the 3 incoming worlds by himself. Lin Moyu opened a space gate and arrived at the edge of the human star region. He called out loudly, "Human Emperor." In less than half a second, the human emperor's projection appeared beside Lin Moyu. It seemed the human emperor had been expecting Lin Moyu to come find him and had been waiting. Lin Moyu said, "In recent years, those newly ascended supremes haven't done anything out of line, have they?" The human emperor's expression wasn't very good. Lin Moyu only needed one glance to know they must have done something. Lin Moyu's tone turned cold. "It's fine, tell me about it." The human emperor said, "Actually, it's nothing much. They just want to gain some power and participate in managing the affairs of the human race." Lin Moyu gave a light chuckle. "The affairs of the human race have always been managed by you and Supreme Hao. Can these fellows manage things well? I think they don't want to participate in managing human affairs, but rather want some special privileges. The human race, whether in its most difficult times in the past or later, has always followed one principle: fairness. Under the human emperor's management, all systems were fair and just. Even if you were powerful and had a strong background, you couldn't bully an ordinary person. There were some privileges in terms of resources, but not too many. Now these supremes, because of their strong power, wanted to gain some privileges for themselves. It was understandable, but could not be allowed. The human emperor nodded. Indeed, they want to gain some privileges for their clans. Lin Moyu smiled. "Did you agree?" The human emperor shook his head. "No, doing so would shake the foundations of the human race. It can't be agreed to." Lin Moyu knew the human emperor and knew he wouldn't agree. Not just him, Supreme Hao and the others wouldn't agree either. Those who became saint venerates in times of crisis had the deepest feelings for the human race and knew what was truly best for humans. Lin Moyu continued to ask, "And then?" The human emperor said, "At the time there was an argument, and in the end it came to nothing, but they probably won't give up." Lin Moyu smiled. "Of course they won't give up. They'll probably unite together and accumulate strength. When their power completely surpasses yours, they'll formally force your hand." The human emperor said, "Perhaps they still have some reservations about you." Lin Moyu was a legend, like a tall mountain pressing down on everyone's heads. But as time passed, the effect of legends would become weaker and weaker. Just like Shao Zontian, if the human emperor told others now that he was Shao Zontian, with the human emperor's half-step supreme strength, how many would fear him? Strength was the hard truth. Lin Moyu understood this principle very clearly. He had an idea and took out 2 corpses. The corpses emitted terrifying pressure. These 2 corpses were both heavenly venerates from the 7-colored sect, killed by Antares in that great battle in the Battle Realm. At that time there were 5 corpses in total. Later the corpse of the purple-robed heavenly venerate was used up, leaving only 4. Then in the World Sea, the 7-colored sect delivered more goods, adding 3 more. Lin Moyu resurrected Kei Jun, and still had 6 low-level heavenly venerate corpses in hand. He unleashed the undying flame, which fell onto the 2 corpses. Origin-level spell, Resurrection of the Dead. Following ancient laws, life force reappeared in the dead heavenly venerate corpses, and their souls began to reform. In just a moment, they became revived ones, kneeling respectfully before Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu drew 3 ancient talismans. 2 fell on them, while the 3rd was given to the human emperor. The human emperor could control the 2 of them through the ancient talisman in his hand. Then he took out a containment talisman and had the 2 enter it, putting them directly to sleep. While sleeping, the passage of time for revived ones would stop. Even if they slept for millions of years, it wouldn't be a problem. He handed the containment talisman to the human emperor. "With them around, you won't have to worry about those guys getting out of hand. If they go too far, just kill them. Don't hold back because they're all human. This is our great world, our home. We need to protect it ourselves. Those bad elements, eliminate them early." Lin Moyu believed the human emperor could make the right choice. After managing the human race for so many years, his grasp of human nature far surpassed ordinary supremes. The human emperor said, "Don't worry, there won't be chaos within the human race." Lin Moyu nodded. "Then I'll go first. If anything happens, contact me anytime." The human emperor nodded. "Be careful in everything. You too." Lin Moyu casually opened a space gate and disappeared. The human emperor held the containment talisman, his expression somewhat complex. Actually, the situation within the human race was even worse than what he had said. The other side was already forcing his hand. They wanted to gain more power and change the existing rules. But because of the strong opposition from Supreme Hao and others, their demands weren't met. Afterwards, the conflict between the two sides was at risk of intensifying, until recently, when a mid-level supreme appeared among the newly ascended supremes. Their strength suddenly surpassed Supreme Hao and the others. According to the human emperor's estimate, the next round of forcing his hand was imminent. If they didn't still have some reservations about Lin Moyu, they probably would have acted already. Lin Moyu's ascension to high-level supreme this time, and his warning to them, would probably make them delay for a while longer. But it was only a delay. When their strength increased again, they would probably be unable to hold back. Now that resources in the great world were becoming increasingly abundant, it also bred their growing desire for power. The human emperor gripped the containment talisman and said softly, "I hope you can be smarter. Otherwise, I can only kill you." The human emperor really didn't want to do things like killing their own kind, but if it came to an unavoidable point, he would have to do it. The world sea was shrouded in mist. Lin Moyu came to the outside of the world and saw 3 worlds close at hand through the mist. In about a dozen more days of world sea time, another world would collide. Then in the following dozen or so days, 2 more worlds would arrive in succession. Back when the Great World fell into decline, these worlds all treated the Great World as a prize and rushed over. Unfortunately, because the Great World had no master, the heavenly venerates inside didn't know other worlds were coming. Otherwise, they definitely wouldn't have left. They might have cleared out the various races in the Great World and then waited outside the Great World. But this world is so strange, many things have no room for regret. They only had one chance to choose. Since they chose to leave, there was no way to come back. Shuiji Heavenly Venerate appeared silently at the edge of the Great World. "Kid, you did well, defeating the Tiger Demon World so easily. That Thunderlight Purple Striped Tiger looked quite pathetic when he fled earlier." Lin Moyu smiled, "It was just luck. He didn't want to fight me to the death, otherwise it would have been somewhat troublesome." As he spoke, Lin Moyu took out 2 jars of fine wine and handed them to Shuiji Heavenly Venerate. Shuiji Heavenly Venerate accepted them with satisfaction. "Looks like that guy was a bit of a coward." Lin Moyu said, "Actually, I didn't want to kill him either. I felt his identity was unusual." "Unusual? What's his name?" "Lei Hao." Shuiji Heavenly Venerate let out a long, "Oh, his surname is Lei, no wonder." Chapter 2417, 2417. Chapter 2417. One question, one jar of wine. Seeing Lin Moyu's confused expression, Shuiji Heavenly Venerate smiled and said, "Among the demon race, the Thunderlight Purple Striped Tiger is a major clan. Their royal family has the surname Lei. This indicates that this guy is from the royal family, with an extraordinary status and position, so he values his life greatly. For him, losing a world contest doesn't matter. He can just go back home, where there are enough resources for him to advance to Tao Venerate. He probably thought the world contest was fun, so he came to try it out. Once he had enough fun, he was ready to go back. It wasn't worth leaving his life here." Lin Moyu filled in the rest of the story in his mind. A Thunderlight Purple Striped Tiger born into the royal family, not wanting to rely on his family, decided to come to the World Sea to participate in world contests, trying to prove himself. Unfortunately, it ended in failure, but it doesn't matter. For him, the world contest was just a game. Losing didn't have much impact, just a waste of some time. Lin Moyu muttered to himself, "No wonder that guy told me if I ever go to demon territory, I could mention his name and he'd look out for me." Shuiji Heavenly Venerate squinted his eyes and said, "If you really do that, you might as well wait for death." Lin Moyu instantly understood the meaning behind Shuiji Heavenly Venerate's words. "You mean, within the demon race, internal strife is also fierce?" Shuiji Heavenly Venerate nodded, "Extremely fierce. The Thunderlight Purple Striped Tiger also has many enemy demon clans. Unless you enter the Thunderlight Purple Striped Tiger's territory, his name might still be useful. But in other places, you'd better prepare to be hunted down." Lin Moyu laughed, "I didn't expect that guy to try to set me up one last time before leaving." Shuiji Heavenly Venerate said, "It's not really setting you up, he just didn't explain clearly. Most demons don't have brains as good as you humans. They prefer to be direct and straightforward. You humans are the ones who are truly scheming and complicated." Lin Moyu smiled and said, "That depends on the person. Not everyone is like that. For example, I'm very sincere." Shuiji Heavenly Venerate gave Lin Moyu a sidelong glance, then looked at the 2 jars of fine wine in front of him, and said ambiguously, "Perhaps." Seeing Shuiji Heavenly Venerate's expression that clearly said he didn't believe him, Lin Moyu felt somewhat helpless. Had his reputation really fallen to this level? Lin Moyu simply sat down as well, drinking wine with Shuiji Heavenly Venerate. Senior, I have 2 questions. Shuiji Heavenly Venerate said, 2 jars of wine for 2 questions. This deal can be made. Lin Moyu laughed, since when did you become so greedy? Shuiji Heavenly Venerate snorted, stop wasting time. If you have something to say, spit it out. Lin Moyu said, the first question is, where can I get spiritual materials? The higher the grade, the better. How high of a grade? The higher, the better. Shuiji Heavenly Venerate thought for a moment, spiritual materials are very rare. Heavenly Venerate level spiritual materials are not inferior to 4th grade origin in value, and that's just for low-grade materials within the Heavenly Venerate realm. Although these materials are rare, they can still be found in the World Sea. I can keep an eye out for you, or ask others to buy them. We should be able to get some. If you want high-grade spiritual materials within the Heavenly Venerate realm, perhaps the generals or the king might have some. There are many merchant associations on the origin continent that might also have them. As for Tao Venerate level spiritual materials, those things are too high grade. I don't know about them. Lin Moyu asked curiously, what do you use for transactions when buying things in the World Sea? Shuiji Heavenly Venerate said, anything of value will do. Heavenly Venerate level treasures, materials, 4th grade or higher origin, high-grade World Sea shells, World Sea pearls, all work. World Sea pearls were the pearls Lin Moyu had seen before. High-grade World Sea pearls referred to those at the Heavenly Venerate level or above. The one in the Cloud Mist sect back then was a Heavenly Venerate level World Sea pearl. Lin Moyu understood that in the World Sea, it was all about bartering. Anything of value could be used. Lin Moyu asked, then what is used for transactions on the origin continent? Shuiji Heavenly Venerate shook his head, that's the 3rd question. Lin Moyu was stunned, this counts too. Shuiji Heavenly Venerate said, is there a problem? Lin Moyu sighed, fine, no problem. He took out 2 more jars of fine wine and gave them to Shuiji Heavenly Venerate. He had plenty of fine wine. The human emperor had prepared a lot for him, and they were all meant to be given to Shuiji Heavenly Venerate anyway. Shuiji Heavenly Venerate accepted them with satisfaction. On the origin continent, as the name suggests, they use origin crystals. Although bartering is also possible, the main currency in circulation is still origin crystals. You'll understand the specifics when you get there. Lin Moyu nodded slightly, do you know the situation of the 3 worlds coming this time? Shuiji Heavenly Venerate said, I know some general information. The masters of these 3 worlds are all human, from different sects. These 3 sects are not bad, at least stronger than the 7-colored sect. It's better not to offend them if you can avoid it. You don't want to have enemies everywhere before you even reach the origin continent, do you? Moreover, they value their lives quite a bit. If they can't win, they won't fight to the death. The 3 worlds are called the Clear Spirit World, the Yongming World, and the Flying Elixir World. They are all 5th grade worlds, not much different from the Tiger Demon World, just a matter of having 1 more or 1 less Heavenly Venerate. The names of the 3 worlds are all named after their masters. Their masters are Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate, Yongming Heavenly Venerate, and Flying Elixir Heavenly Venerate, all mid-level Heavenly Venerates. However, according to Shuiji Heavenly Venerate, their foundations are not as strong as Lei Hao's, and they probably don't have as many trump cards as Lei Hao. But this is not 100% certain, after all, no one would reveal all their trump cards. All 3 covet the 6th grade origin of the Great World, but they have discussed it among themselves. They will rely entirely on strength to decide, and the 3 of them will not interfere in each other's battles. In Lin Moyu's view, this kind of discussion was like saying, we'll fight, but let our subordinates go all out. We'll just watch from the sidelines. Whether we win or lose, we won't fight to the death ourselves. We'll stay alive. This also indirectly shows that they value their own lives very much. It's not easy to cultivate to the Heavenly Venerate realm, and no one wants to die. Lin Moyu suddenly had an idea, what if I were to invade directly before the 2 worlds collide? Shuiji Heavenly Venerate stared at Lin Moyu, are you crazy? In someone else's world, your strength will be suppressed. Even if your spells have merged with origin, they will still be affected, just a matter of how much. Suddenly, he changed his tone, if that's the case, it's not impossible. Indeed, some people have done this before. The premise is that your strength can completely overwhelm the opponent. Otherwise, it would be very dangerous. Once you enter someone else's world, it's not so easy to retreat. I think, to be safe, you shouldn't do this. Just wait honestly for it to come and merge. Lin Moyu had his own thoughts. The first one to crash over is the Clear Spirit world, backed by Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate. If I win, I can't kill him. He will definitely tell the situation in the Great World to the other two Heavenly Venerates. At that time, the other two worlds probably won't choose to merge. The world sea mist you borrowed with such difficulty would be wasted. Without a master in the Great World, the choice of world collision method is not up to those in the Great World. If the other side doesn't choose to merge, but chooses to collide, then they will only suffer a little loss and can avoid failure. This way, Lin Moyu's plan to obtain their world origin would be difficult to succeed. Shuiji Heavenly Venerate said, "You have a point. So what do you plan to do?" Lin Moyu said, "After dealing with the Clear Spirit world, I plan to directly send troops to the Yongming world and Flying Elixir world." Shuiji Heavenly Venerate didn't continue to persuade Lin Moyu. After all, what Lin Moyu said wasn't wrong. Chapter 2418, 2418. Chapter 2418. If you want to join, be responsible for your own life and death. 12 days later, the Clear Spirit world finally arrived at the edge of the Great World and collided with it. 3 days after its arrival in the World Sea, the Yongming world would arrive, and 4 days after that, the Flying Elixir world would arrive. In these short 20 days, the Great World would face collisions from 3 worlds one after another. As the collision began, the Clear Spirit world, as Lin Moyu had predicted, chose to merge. The Great World began to rumble and shake as the laws of the two worlds started to merge. Lin Moyu calculated the time in his mind. 3 days in the World Sea equaled more than 80 years in the Great World. Given his current range of action in the World Sea, he would have to wait until 2 days before the worlds collided to launch his attack. Lin Moyu was not worried about the Yongming world. Once it entered the range of the World Sea mist, it couldn't change direction. The collision between the Yongming world and the Great World was inevitable. The concern was the last world, the Flying Elixir world. If the Yongming world chose a different collision method, the direction of the two worlds would change after the collision, making it highly unlikely they would collide with the Flying Elixir world. Even if they did collide, the Flying Elixir world would likely choose a different collision method and not merge with the Great World. Lin Moyu had a detailed plan. First, he would resolve the Clear Spirit world in the shortest time possible. Then, when the Yongming world entered the final area, he would directly enter the Yongming world and resolve it, preventing it from colliding with the Great World. By then, the Flying Elixir world would be unable to change direction, and when it approached the Great World, he could resolve it as well. The plan was simple. The only question was whether Lin Moyu's strength was sufficient to break into the Yongming world and resolve it, rather than failing and making things worse. As the two worlds began to merge, the expression of Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate became somewhat strange. He transmitted a message to Yongming Heavenly Venerate and Flying Elixir Heavenly Venerate, "This world is strange. It has no master. Be careful." He sensed that the Great World had no master. This also meant that the Tiger Demon world had lost in its struggle with the Great World. Otherwise, the master of the Great World should be the Thunderlight Purple Striped Tiger, not an unknown state. The combat power of the Tiger Demon world was not weaker than any of them. If it had lost, it proved that the foundation of the Great World was terrifying. The reminder from Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate made Yongming Heavenly Venerate and Flying Elixir Heavenly Venerate's hearts sink slightly. They were all smart and naturally understood what this meant. Yongming Heavenly Venerate responded, "This world has reached the 6th level and was once very powerful. Be careful." Flying Elixir Heavenly Venerate also said, "If you can't win, just admit defeat and leave. Don't risk your life." Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate nodded slightly and slowly sank into his own world. Whether it was strong or not, they would only know after fighting. In the world, Lin Moyu did not wait for the two worlds to completely merge before launching his attack. This time, he wanted a quick battle and to see how much combat power he had without the support of the Great World's laws. The space gate opened, and in almost an instant, he arrived at the junction of the two worlds. The two worlds had just begun to merge, and the laws of the Great World had not yet fully penetrated the Clear Spirit world. Fortunately, the laws of space and time could still be used, though not as powerfully as in the Great World. The two laws converged into the power of time and space. The wings of the undead spread, and soul power surged, carrying Lin Moyu into the clear spirit world at an astonishing speed. Gradually, the laws of the Great World became weaker until they disappeared. Meanwhile, the laws of the clear spirit world became more apparent, clearly unwelcoming to Lin Moyu, an outsider. A huge pressure came toward Lin Moyu, trying to drive this intruder out. As the master of the world, Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate immediately sensed Lin Moyu. A high-level Heavenly Venerate, is he here to die? Could it be that he is the envoy of that world? His speed is quite fast, must be the law of space. As expected of a 6th-level world, even in decline, it still has such geniuses. Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate was very interested in Lin Moyu and wanted to see what Lin Moyu intended to do by coming alone. Before the worlds fully merged, the Clear Spirit world had already completed its preparations for battle. At this moment, the army was assembled and ready to move out. Lin Moyu resisted the pressure from the Clear Spirit world, his eyes filled with excitement. It's been a long time since I felt such pressure. It's quite stimulating. I wonder what kind of world the Clear Spirit world is. It shouldn't be a human world. Although the master behind the world was human, the beings evolved by the world were not necessarily human. This was the case most of the time. Unless there was some special sentiment or purpose, like Lei Hao specifically evolving the Thunder Light Tiger clan, it was rare. The Clear Spirit world was not large. Lin Moyu used the wings of the undead, combined with the power of time and space, and at the cost of not conserving energy, his speed was only slightly slower than the space gate. He continuously traversed the void, rushing towards the depths of the Clear Spirit world. Gradually, he felt an exceptionally abundant life force. A familiar aura made Lin Moyu's heart move. It's plant-based. Generally, only plant-based beings could possess such abundant life force. Sure enough, he soon saw the beings of the Clear Spirit world. In the Clear Spirit world, there were no continents or stars, only plants growing in the void. There were giant trees larger than galaxies and terrifying flowers and grasses millions of meters tall. There were inconspicuous small grasses emitting the aura of Peak Supreme. There were also vine-like plants resembling carnivorous flowers, ugly flowers like man-eating plants. Various plants densely populated the starry sky. This was the army of the Clear Spirit world, numbering in the millions, with the weakest being half-step Supremes. Among them, there were over 100,000 Supremes and 3 Heavenly Venerates. A willow tree of unknown height had branches that could shatter a galaxy with a single lash. A mass of coiled vines, larger than stars, with countless vines like whips, slowly danced in the void. There was no doubt about its power. Even a Peak Supreme couldn't withstand a single strike. However, what Lin Moyu felt was the greatest threat was a small grass in the middle. The small grass was about 10,000 meters tall, inconspicuous between the willow tree and the vines. But this small grass gave Lin Moyu a sense of danger, emitting sharp sword energy as if it could cut through everything. Lin Moyu had only seen this level of sword energy on his elder sister. Lin Moyu stopped in front of the Clear Spirit world's army, his gaze sweeping past them to the rear. Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate, come out and meet me. His voice echoed through the void. Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate was clearly stunned for a moment. With a step, he appeared before the army. How did you know it was me? Who sent you? Does your world still have a Heavenly Venerate? As he appeared, countless plants all bowed and lowered, showing respect and submission to their master. Lin Moyu did not answer him but instead asked, Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate, are you planning to join this world contest yourself? Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate was taken aback, confused by Lin Moyu's attitude. Other Supremes, when facing a Heavenly Venerate, would at least show the proper respect. But Lin Moyu showed no respect at all. In fact, Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate had the illusion that Lin Moyu was looking down on him. This feeling was very strange. Heavenly Venerates had their own spiritual senses, and his senses told him that this was indeed the case. Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate felt a slight anger. Do you know that you are just a Supreme? Killing you is easier than crushing an ant. Lin Moyu sighed. Forget it, I won't ask any more. If you want to join, then join. Be responsible for your own life and death. As his words fell, Lin Moyu casually snapped his fingers. The undying flame flew out, exploding in the void and turning into a sea of fire. Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate's face changed dramatically. Impossible. Chapter 2419, 2419. Chapter 2419. The depths of a 6th-level world. A surge of Heavenly Venerate aura spread from the sea of fire, causing the entire Clear Spirit world to tremble. A total of 200 skeleton thrones appeared in the sea of fire. The skeleton kings slowly rose, and the skeleton thrones transformed into bone swords, falling into the hands of the skeleton kings. 200 skeleton kings, each at the low-level heavenly venerate realm. The skeleton kings amplified each other, offsetting part of the suppression from the clear spirit world. The suppression from the clear spirit world was not as strong as Lin Moyu had imagined, perhaps partly because the skeleton kings had integrated with 7th level origin. Their combat power was still terrifying, at least surpassing peak supremes. A heavenly venerate is a heavenly venerate no matter how suppressed, they are still heavenly venerates. Clear spirit heavenly venerate's face turned extremely ugly, filled with disbelief. How can there be so many heavenly venerate level puppets? Could it be that a 6th level world can be this powerful? No wonder the tiger demon world failed. Facing 200 low-level heavenly venerate skeleton kings, how could he fight? It was truly like a starving dragon being bigger than a flood dragon. He began to regret coming here. Despair grew in his heart, and suddenly a thought arose: if I personally intervene, there might still be a chance. Just as this thought emerged, a cultivator suddenly appeared beside Lin Moyu. K-Jun appeared silently, standing beside Lin Moyu, staring expressionlessly at clear spirit heavenly venerate. K-Jun also emitted the aura of a mid-level heavenly venerate, not much weaker than clear spirit heavenly venerate. Perhaps in a one-on-one fight, clear spirit heavenly venerate wouldn't fear him. But this wasn't a one-on-one fight. There were 200 skeleton kings eyeing him as well. Lin Moyu said, I'll ask you again, do you want to join the battle yourself? Decide for yourself. After speaking, Lin Moyu pointed at the clear spirit world's army, and an illusory, hazy aura appeared, instantly transforming into a bone hell in the void. In the clear spirit world, the bone hell was also suppressed, with a range of only 0.1 light years. Compared to the 10 light years in the great world, it was much smaller. But 0.1 light years was more than enough here. As soon as the bone hell appeared, it swallowed the entire clear spirit world army. Hellish spirits flew out, the river of hellfire boiled like a volcanic eruption, and 10 fireballs in the sky scattered endless flames. The other shore flowers bloomed, blue light intertwined with flames, forming a strange color. The eye of the undead opened simultaneously, gazing at the bone hell. Waves of soul impact followed one after another, and screams echoed continuously. The clear spirit world army immediately began to resist, but their resistance seemed particularly weak. Only 3 heavenly venerates continuously struck the bone hell, causing it to tremble incessantly. Among them, the 10,000-meter tall grass exploded with astonishing sword energy, almost splitting the bone hell in half. The hellish spirits hit by the sword energy were all repelled. The bone hell was very sturdy, blocking the heavenly venerates' attacks for a short time. The skeleton kings charged out, wielding the power of time and space, their speed astonishing, killing their way into the clear spirit world army like teleporting. The skeleton kings targeted the 3 clear spirit world heavenly venerates, with a ratio of 200 to 3. This was not a group fight, it was a massacre. Willow branches and vines were severed under the skeleton king's swords. The sword energy of the 10,000-meter tall grass was suppressed, barely able to protect itself. Lin Moyu observed that these plant-based beings lacked much intelligence. This was likely related to clear spirit heavenly venerate, who didn't like the beings in his world having too much intelligence. This made them easier to control but also weakened their combat power. At this moment, clear spirit heavenly venerate's face was extremely grim. He could see that his plant army couldn't withstand Lin Moyu's attack. Defeat was only a matter of time unless he personally intervened to possibly turn the tide. But could he intervene? He glanced at K-Jun beside Lin Moyu, feeling that the other party was firmly locking onto him. If he made a move, the other party would also act. Although he wasn't afraid of the other party, with these heavenly venerate level puppets added, it was uncertain whether he could escape smoothly. But if he didn't act, watching his painstakingly cultivated army be destroyed was very frustrating. Lin Moyu watched clear spirit heavenly venerate, speculating about his character. From his expression, many things could be seen. His character is very cautious, yet conflicted. Such a character can indeed live longer, but reaching higher realms is very difficult. In cultivation, nothing is smooth sailing, danger must be experienced. If one is unwilling to take risks, achieving higher accomplishments is very difficult. Flowers in a greenhouse cannot withstand wind and rain. This principle applies everywhere. But blindly taking risks without considering danger will also lead to a quick death. Courage and wisdom are extremely important in cultivation, requiring correct judgment to go further. Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate's caution led him to make the final choice. He chose to give up, abandoning the world contest. Although cultivating a world was arduous, requiring a lot of time and effort, this world was precious to Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate. But compared to his own life, it became insignificant. Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate's expression relaxed. He no longer looked at the battlefield but at Lin Moyu. His gaze was peculiar, seemingly filled with hatred, yet not quite. It was as if he wanted to remember Lin Moyu, whispering, "Are you the strongest in this world?" Lin Moyu openly admitted, "Yes. What is your name?" Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate asked again. Lin Moyu also openly admitted, "Lin Moyu." If a strong person doesn't even dare to say their own name, what right do they have to pursue higher realms? Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate said, "Good, I will remember you. I believe one day you will set foot on the origin continent. Although I lost this world contest, the one who defeated me was not you, but the foundation left by your world. In the future, I will compete with you again to see who is stronger." After speaking, Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate turned and left. As the current world master, as long as Lin Moyu didn't stop him, he could leave the world in an instant. Lin Moyu originally had no intention of killing him. After all, he was a mid-level Heavenly Venerate with a backing force. If possible, it was better to let him go, Shuiji Heavenly Venerate had said, unless he never went to the origin continent in his life. Otherwise, if he offended too many people, the moment he set foot on the origin continent, he would definitely be besieged. If things went wrong, even Dao Venerates would take action, making life very unpleasant. Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate left, severing his connection with the Clear Spirit world, turning it into an unowned world. This battle ended too quickly. The fusion had just begun, and the battle was already over. Who could have thought that Lin Moyu would take the initiative to attack and crush him with absolute advantage, leaving him no room to fight back? As soon as Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate left the world, he immediately transmitted to Yongming Heavenly Venerate and Flying Elixir Heavenly Venerate, "I lost. Be smart, save your lives, don't court death." The two were shocked upon receiving Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate's transmission. For the World Sea, only a minute or two had passed, how could he have lost already? Yongming Heavenly Venerate immediately asked, "What happened?" Flying Elixir Heavenly Venerate also asked, "Explain clearly, what happened? You shouldn't have fully merged yet." Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate said, "The other side is too strong, directly attacking, completely unstoppable. Fortunately, he didn't intend to kill us, so be smart and don't die in vain. I'm leaving. See you on the origin continent." Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate left with a trace of melancholy, returning to the origin continent from the World Sea. Yongming Heavenly Venerate and Flying Elixir Heavenly Venerate looked at each other, both feeling a chill. The depths of a 6th level world were too profound, they felt they were sinking into it. Chapter 2420, 2420. Chapter 2420. No right or wrong, only success or failure. Yongming Heavenly Venerate and Flying Elixir Heavenly Venerate were anxious as they watched their worlds approach the Great World. They were powerless to change the direction of their worlds, as the World Sea Mist had already locked their paths. Their only option now was to choose not to merge. They hoped that after the collision, the two worlds would bounce off each other. Although doing so would cause damage to their worlds, it was better than complete destruction. Yongming Heavenly Venerate made up his mind and said to Flying Elixir Heavenly Venerate, "I will let the Yongming world collide with it to change its direction, so it won't collide with your world." Flying Elixir Heavenly Venerate was moved, "But doing so will cause severe damage to your world. The other side is a 6th level world, and the collision will be powerful." Yongming Heavenly Venerate smiled bitterly, "It's better than being destroyed. Although it will suffer heavy damage, it can still recover over time." Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate's words are not false. To make him admit defeat in such a short time means their strength is overwhelming. Flying Elixir Heavenly Venerate lowered his eyes, "It seems this is the only way. You are very righteous, and I will compensate you in the future." Yongming Heavenly Venerate didn't want his world to be damaged either, but he had no choice. The foundation of a 6th level world was unimaginably strong. This was not a piece of fat meat but a highly toxic drug. The funny thing was, they were all fighting to consume it. In their anxiety, 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. The Great World finally emerged from the mist, and its size was more than 10 times that of Yongming Heavenly Venerate and Flying Elixir Heavenly Venerate's worlds. When they were far away, it didn't feel like much. Now that they were close, coupled with Clear Spirit Heavenly Venerate's previous experience, Yongming Heavenly Venerate finally felt the pressure brought by the 6th level world. The great world was like a giant, rolling through the waves of the world sea, seemingly about to crush the Yongming world into powder. Yongming Heavenly Venerate couldn't help but doubt whether his world could withstand the collision. At this moment, his eyes suddenly narrowed. Someone is there. He flew up, higher than the great world, and through the mist, he saw someone sitting on top of the great world, a high-level supreme. Lin Moyu sat on the great world and greeted Yongming Heavenly Venerate. Greetings, Yongming Heavenly Venerate. Yongming Heavenly Venerate looked at Lin Moyu. What do you want? Although Lin Moyu was just a high-level supreme, Yongming Heavenly Venerate felt a sense of danger from him. Yongming Heavenly Venerate's spiritual sense was strong, and he trusted it. He felt that this high-level supreme in front of him was very dangerous. A supreme making him feel danger was unusual in itself. Lin Moyu smiled. Senior wants to let the Yongming world collide with my world, using damage to change the direction of both worlds. Upon hearing this, Yongming Heavenly Venerate's expression changed. His plan had been seen through. But then he thought, the other party wasn't stupid, so it was normal to deduce his plan. Considering that the 6th level world had no master and the choice was in his hands, he felt reassured. Yongming Heavenly Venerate admitted openly, so what if it is? Lin Moyu said, Senior's idea is good, but I still want to try to stop you. Yongming Heavenly Venerate frowned slightly. How do you plan to stop me? The 6th level world is strong, but it has no master. Lin Moyu smiled. I plan to prevent the two worlds from colliding. Preventing the collision of two worlds? What kind of method was that? Suddenly, Yongming Heavenly Venerate realized something. What are you planning to do? Before he could finish speaking, Lin Moyu had already moved. He took a step, crossing the distance between the two worlds, and instantly arrived in front of the Yongming world. Then he punched, creating a small hole in the Yongming world with the power of a high-level supreme, and then rushed inside. Yongming Heavenly Venerate finally understood what Lin Moyu was planning. He was going to directly enter the Yongming world. How dare you! Yongming Heavenly Venerate roared in anger and quickly entered his world. Not far away, Flying Elixir Heavenly Venerate heard Yongming Heavenly Venerate's roar and immediately transmitted a message. What happened? But he received no response, not knowing that Yongming Heavenly Venerate had already entered his world. Inside the Yongming world, Lin Moyu spread his wings of the undead and moved rapidly. At the same time, he was also sensing this peculiar world. In the Yongming world, there were only two colors, black and white. Black represented yin, white represented yang, and the number of laws inside was extremely few, only a handful. From the state of the world, it could be inferred that Yongming Heavenly Venerate was also a person who saw things in black and white. He didn't like complexity and preferred simplicity. The advantage of this was that it allowed certain laws to be evolved to the extreme, making the beings in the world stronger and more extreme. The disadvantage was that it had poor adaptability and was easily targeted. For Lin Moyu, it didn't matter whether it was simple or complex, he would break it with force. Crossing the edge of the Yongming world, Lin Moyu quickly entered its interior and saw its structure. In the Yongming world, there were no stars or continents, only masses of water. These water masses were black and white, half black and half white, each as large as a galaxy. They twisted and changed shape in the void, with many beings living inside them. Not only were there beings inside the water masses, but the water masses themselves were also a type of being. It looked like the beings inside the water masses were parasitic. This reminded Lin Moyu of kangaroos, with their young living in their pouches. At the center of the water masses, there was a light shining like a star, providing energy to the water masses and the beings within them. There are countless worlds, each different, and today Lin Moyu saw a new type of world. This world is interesting. Lin Moyu watched for a while, then suddenly stepped back. A sword light flashed past where he had been standing, and Yongming Heavenly Venerate appeared in front of him. With his appearance, immense pressure from all directions in the Yongming world surged towards Lin Moyu, as if to crush him into a meat patty. This was an independent world with a master. Under Yongming Heavenly Venerate's control, the entire world's power was targeting Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu felt unprecedented pressure, much stronger than when he was in the clear spirit world. Flames flowed on Lin Moyu's body, and his undying golden body shone brightly, resisting the immense pressure. Yongming Heavenly Venerate stared at Lin Moyu. What exactly do you want to do? Lin Moyu said, in a world contest, there is no right or wrong, only success or failure. Senior, we each have our own goals. I want the Yongming world. You can choose to act, but the consequences are your responsibility. As he finished speaking, Lin Moyu snapped his fingers. The undying flame exploded into a sea of fire, and skeleton thrones emerged from the flames. This time, Lin Moyu summoned 400 skeleton kings. The pressure from the Yongming world was too great. 200 skeleton kings were not enough. At the same time, Kei Jun appeared beside Lin Moyu, coldly staring at Yongming Heavenly Venerate. Buddhist chants echoed, and with Kei Jun appeared the Buddhist Lich and the Divine Power Lich. When the skeleton kings appeared, Yongming Heavenly Venerate's face changed drastically, 400 Heavenly Venerates and mid-level Heavenly Venerates. Lin Moyu did not answer, but pointed at the Yongming world. Mist rose, and the bone hell appeared, swallowing the water masses.